It's the SCFA championship game here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Mike Cepeda, Jeff Stoynoff with you on today's contest. Join us coming up at 1 p.m. in about 8 minutes here live from Yorba Linda, California. It's the Hornets and the Tigers on SoCal College Sports.
And a very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Nathan Chappelle Stadium on the campus of Yorba Linda High School for today's coverage of the SCFA Championship game here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Jeff Stoynoff, Mike Zapata, Jorge Zapata, the entire SoCalCollegeSports.com team here with you today for our final matchup of the season. And this has been a season in the SCFA here in 2016 that has been equal parts fascinating and exciting. But it is hard to argue as we get ready for the kickoff here for the SCFA Championship game that the right two teams aren't in the finals here. They come in with identical records of 10-1 on the season, and both teams, interestingly, Riverside and Fullerton, each within a minute this season of being undefeated. Both teams and their lone loss carried leads into the final minute of the ball game. We are set for the opening kickoff. We'll get to more of the story of these seasons for both teams as we continue our coverage here today. But the Tigers are set to kick off. The Hornets in their home blue jerseys will work it from right to left here in the first quarter. The ball teed up and we are ready to go. The approach and the kick. Taken by Justin Mayweather at the 7. Mayweather slips a tackle at the 15, now finds a little seam as he's out to the 29, call it the 30. A 23-yard return for the hero out of nowhere last week in the National Bowl, Justin Mayweather, who had stood out for the Hornets largely this season in return duty. Coming into the game last week, he had 4 catches for 47 yards on the season, but he blew up last week for 6 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown in the 48-42 victory over Ventura College. So yet another statement as to just how deep this Hornets offense is. It's the highest scoring offense in the SCFA by a healthy margin this season. Hoy comes out leading the Hornets. A monster season for freshman Jordan Hoy as he'll work out of the shotgun. He'll spread it out with receivers left and right. Hoy taking some time, now has the snap. Quick pitch outside, trouble on the exchange, and Wood just has to fall on it for a loss of 3 yards back to the 26-yard line.
Now make no mistake about it, this is a team in Riverside that Fullerton is going to have to make some adjustments to because their speed is absolutely just terrifying. And
to that point, Michael, they forced 6 turnovers in their victory last week in the SCFA semifinals, bringing their total of forced turnovers on the season to 30 in 11 games, so just under 3 a game. So they're a big play defense with a lot of speed. 2nd down and 13. Hoy working in the pistol formation again, taking some time. Another pitch on the far side. This is Hewlett. Slips a tackle in the backfield and picks his way forward back to the 31, where it will be 3rd and long for the Hornets, who come in converting 35% on 3rd down on the season.
Apologies, everybody. Having some technical difficulties here starting off the broadcast. We are expecting a lot of weather here today, so making preparations accordingly. And
bubble screen going nowhere on the far side, so it's going to be a quick 3 and out. Wilder on the reception, but he had nowhere to go. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and the Tigers win the first skirmish as the Tiger defense that has been so very good all season forces a quick 3 and out. And now they will get their chance on offense. Austin McGee back in punt formation. Malik Yoakum waiting deep. And this is a short kick. It is a windy afternoon. Yoakum moving up, makes the catch on the run, but they're going to say he signaled for the fair catch. Yoakum, I think, tried to change his mind halfway through, but the Tigers will have to settle for the football at their own 38-yard line. Good field position for their first possession of the afternoon. The Hornets coming in having won the last 3 matchups between these teams, though the Tigers lead the all-time series 36-27. The Hornets trying to go back to the state championship game. They were there back in 2013, eventually losing to state champion Butte College that year. For the Tigers, they're trying to scale the mountain. But let's update you. There's a penalty on the field, and the Tiger defense is coming back out. So this is going to be, well, they're marking it off from the 38, so let's hold everything. And this is still going to belong to the Tigers. They'll mark off the 5-yard penalty, and the Tigers will take over from the 33. Thought I saw the defense coming back out, but it'll be the Tiger offense that will have the ball at the 33. Meanwhile, getting back to the story of the Tigers, they have been oh so close in the last few years since really arriving as a power in a standout 2011 season that saw them go undefeated. But they were shut out of the playoffs playing in the American Conference. They have since moved up and made the playoffs in each of the last 3 years, advancing as far as the SCFA championship in both 2013 and 2014 before falling just short of a state championship appearance. Last year, the Tigers again made the playoffs, but they fell in the opening round to Saddleback College. So the Tigers have been knocking at the door. And to paraphrase the late, great Bum Phillips, I think this year they're looking to kick it in. So back to the 38, and that's where Colin Anderson will go to work with the Tiger offense. Anderson suffered an injury early in the third quarter last week. It was diagnosed as a lower back injury, and a lot of precaution was taken. They were very careful with Colin Anderson, actually taking him off the field on a stretcher. But he has since been able to practice all week with that lower back injury, and he gets the start here today. It was El Toro Allen on the first carry for a gain of 4 and a second down and 6.
El Toro Allen, an impressive week last week. I believe 187 yards on the ground.
187, Michael, your memory is spot on as always. Pass in the flat to Herring is too low, and it's quickly 3rd down and 6 for the Tigers, who also, for all their success offensively for the Tigers, sort of middle of the road on 3rd down. Just 35% as well on the season. So neither of these teams really stand out on 3rd down, but that doesn't stop them from putting the points on the board. One can be assured. 3rd and 6, back to Herring, and this one gunned way over his head. Gordon had the coverage, but that pass, well, who did they need out there? Probably about Shaquille O'Neal, I think, to make that reception, Michael. But
I don't think I would have helped. I'm 6'10".
Quick 3 and out. And the teams trade 3 and outs on their opening possession, and it will go back to Fullerton with 12:33 still remaining here in the first quarter. This will be our first look at Seth Acta handling the punting duties. Acta, part of a two-man backfield for the Tigers. This one with the wind behind takes a big kick and goes all the way into the end zone. So a 58-yard punt for Acta, and I think it's safe to say after 2 possessions that we know which way the wind is blowing, Michael, as Acta let that one go. But it goes into the end zone for the touchback, and the Hornets will get it back and start at their own 20. So happy you've joined us here for the SCFA Championship game on SoCalCollegeSports.com. 2 remain here in the Southern California Football Association. The winner of this game advances to the state championship game, which we will have for you on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Full coverage on December 10th. Pistol formation in the give straight ahead. And a pickup of a couple out to the 22-yard line. Both of these teams excel defending the run, both limiting opposing offenses to under 90 yards a game on the ground, and that is a terrific total in the SCFA. So it would be surprising if either team had a tremendous amount of success running the ball here today. Quick screen out to Grossman, and he is dragged down just shy of the first down marker at the 29, where it will be 3rd down and 1. Hoy quickly brings the Hornets to the line on 3rd and short. The Tigers crowding the line. They bring 7. And now Hoy will back off with plenty of time on the play clock. Three wide receivers bunched to the near side. Hoy, quick pitch. Butler slips a tackle. He's got the first down. Check that. That is Anthony Wood in the backfield.
It's good feet.
As Wood with a little move evades a tackler, gets to the 33. That's the first down of the game. Wood was quiet last week. 8 carries for 33 yards, but the Hornets will spread it around. Last week it was Hewlett, who went over 100 yards in the game with 117 yards, but you never know who you're going to get between Butler, Wood, Hewlett, Kentavious Thomas. And then, of course, the leading rusher is Jordan Hoy, the quarterback. Quick pitch again. Wood with running room on the far side has another first down. He's out past the 45. to the 48-yard line, so some running room for Anthony Wood.
Jeffrey, you mentioned Hoy, player of the year on offense in the South.
Yeah, the numbers are spectacular, Michael. 35 touchdowns against just 6 interceptions, and we talked about the nearly 700 yards rushing. So a well-deserved honor. This one lob looking for Gross, who's got the catch. Gross with the first big play, a stiff arm, and he's going to go in for a Hornet touchdown. Jerome Gross, as Hoy drops it in the breadbasket. And I'm not sure, but I think that was the second pass attempt of the game for Hoy, so he strikes quickly, just as we were talking about the numbers. And then Gross with a terrific individual effort, warding off a tackler and taking it in.
Very impressive.
52 yards on the touchdown. 10:43 remaining in the first quarter. And Chappelle Stadium, at least starting out here today, remains a house of horrors for the Tigers, who have had their troubles of late with Fullerton College. They're going to fake on the extra point and take it in. So a little trickery early on as well, as a direct snap to Johnny Carmack. And Carmack, a backup quarterback, able to weave his way in. And the Hornets go up 8-0 with 10:43 remaining in the first quarter. We'll step aside. You're watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. The Hornets draw first blood, and they lead it 8-0 as Jordan Hoy finds Jerome Gross for a 52-yard touchdown strike. The 2-point conversion is good, and it's an 8-0 game. The kickoff popped short and fair caught at the 34. A little contact after the catch, but no flags on the play.
An embarrassment of riches in terms of accolades for this Fullerton squad. Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and as we talked about, the Offensive Player of the Year in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, the offense was just extraordinary statistically, with an average points per game up over 50. They were the only team in the SCFA to average that many. And I'll tell you, Michael, this is an impressive Hornet team, and we got a good look at some good offenses this year in the SCFA, covering Ventura and Riverside, among others. Allen with a stiff arm runs out of bounds after a gain of about 5. Taking it up to the 37-yard line. They'll give him 4 yards. And a 2nd down and 6 coming up, and the Tigers pick up the pace on offense on their second drive. Four wide receivers for the Tigers. Anderson has the snap. Allen again with running room into Fullerton territory, down to the 49. Takes a big hit there from Javon Burris, but not before he moves the chains with a run of 14 yards. So Allen is getting it dialed in. The Tigers have their first down of the afternoon. Acta on the carry, running off tackle on the left side, slips one tackle and falls forward to the 46. That's a gain of 3.
Yeah, Seth Acta, first team All-League in the Central, and he started the year as the starter for Riverside, but he relented, had a bit of an ankle injury, and he is about 95% to go here. And it's a combination of Seth Acta and El Toro Allen. I'll tell you what, that's a lot of talent in your backfield.
Yeah, Acta, we talked about the 187 yards for Allen, but how about Acta quietly putting together 90 yards to go over 1,000 yards for the season in the game last week? This one fanned out to the far side and completed. A short gain on the play. As Eric Brown on the reception, down to the 42, and it's a 3rd down and 3 coming up for the Tigers. So we have a Riverside player with the helmet off, so they'll go off for one play. After the reception by Brown, 3rd down and a short 3 coming up. So a change on the offensive line. And Anderson will look over for the play. It's interesting, Michael. You see this quite a bit. Acta and Allen rotating, but they don't often have them on the field together. You wonder about on a 3rd and short, it'd be that much more difficult to defend. Not that I'm stepping in as a coach myself, but with both Acta and Allen in a running situation. Short throw, catch is made. This is our first look at Darius Hunter, who has the first down to the 34. Hunter went over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns, just blew up in the second half as the Tigers outlasted the Gauchos.
Blew up and blew by pretty much every defender he faced.
Yeah, he's been doing that all season. He has 10 touchdowns coming in to lead all receivers.
He's a special talent.
For the Tigers.
Good genes, too.
Yeah, not bad. Is there some athleticism in that family? I don't remember.
Shout out to Torrey Hunter, friend of the broadcast. Had a chance to speak with Torrey during the Mount Sac game, and very gracious that he came on.
Empty backfield and a short completion down to the 31. It's a gain of 3 yards.
Penalty. The laundry on the field. I think this might be personal foul indeed.
It is. It's roughing the passer. It's a good call, Michael. So that'll be tacked on to the result of the play after the 3-yard catch by Yoakum. So that'll bring it down to the 16. And the Tigers into the red zone trying to answer back, trailing early here 8-0. Interesting. What do you make of the it looked like a planned play to go for 2 points.
Yeah.
On the first one, but an interesting call so early in the game.
Well, I think the wind being that much of a factor, I mean, you had to maybe be ready for it.
Yeah.
It's going against you.
Hunter lines up in the slot on the near side, now goes in motion, 1st and 10 from the 16. They try the jet sweep with Hunter around the edge and forced out of bounds. He takes a big hit.
Another flag.
And another flag comes in. And I believe that was Taj Jones on the hit. And it's hard to say on the far side from our angle, but might have been a little late. And obviously the officials thought so because 2 flags came in immediately.
Yeah, well, I thought it was late, and I'm all the way over here.
Yeah, it didn't look like a hard call for them.
No.
So you could probably suspect that it was a fairly obvious infraction. If there is good news for the Hornets, it took place at the 11-yard line, so it's only a 5-yard penalty. Takes it down to the 6, maybe the 5. And El Toro Allen back in the backfield with Colin Anderson as the Tigers have it 1st and goal. Anderson taking some time, plenty of time on the play clock, down to 15. He'll move Allen over to his right, has the snap. Allen trying to cut to his left, and he is swallowed up short of the line. Justin Parcells with a little help from Montre Bonner. And Allen had nowhere to go on that play. Bonner coming off a monster game last week in which he had 4 sacks against a very good Pirate offensive line. But Bonner spent a lot of time getting to know Jake Luton last week. They will give Allen a very good spot to get back to the line. So it's 2nd and goal from the 5. They'll spread it out with receivers left and right. Now they'll empty the backfield. Blitz coming. Anderson steps up. Quick screen on the far side. Second effort. Maybe gets back to the 5. So again, well defended. Dominic Maiden on the reception. And it's 3rd and goal as the Hornet defense stiffens deep in their own territory. We'll see where Anderson goes here. Last week it was a bevy of big plays for the Tigers, as indeed it has been all season. But for their part, they have been very good in the red zone all year. Among the top 5 in the SCFA. Acta has replaced Allen in the backfield on 3rd and goal. Anderson looking into the end zone. Passes incomplete. He wanted Darius Hunter, and Hunter was guarded very closely and maybe a little additional contact in there, but no call coming.
A lot of contact on that. I'm surprised no flag came out.
It was Deshaun Taylor on the coverage, and he was right there with Hunter, who was running just a little button hook into the end zone. Managed to get a hand in there and break it up. So a field goal attempt coming from Hilfer. Comes in 12 of 17 on the year. Did miss his only field goal attempt from long range last week. This one from significantly closer. It's a 23-yard field goal, and he puts it through. So Hilfer caps off the drive for the Tigers with the field goal. And with 6:14 remaining in the opening quarter, Fullerton leads 8-3 over Riverside in the SCFA championship game here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Back at Nathan Chappelle Stadium in Yorba Linda for the SCFA Championship. Jeff Stoynoff, Mike Cepeda, Jorge Cepeda, the entire SoCalCollegeSports.com team here with you today.
Minus Matt Henson.
Matt Henson here because his graphics are here. Couldn't be here in person, but Matt, as always, still making his contribution to the broadcast, and it's a significant one. Tigers have it teed up. We're ready to go in an 8-3 ball game midway through the first quarter. A spot in the CCCAA State Championship game 2 weeks from today, right here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. On the line between these two teams who have had such outstanding seasons here in 2016 in the SCFA, 10-1, and as we talked about at the top, just that close, both of these teams, to being undefeated this season. I mean, they were 1 minute away, each one of them, in the game that they did lose.
Yeah.
So there's, this is nobody's sneaking in here in this one, Michael. This is two of the teams that, in some ways, appeared to be on a collision course all year. Hoy brings out the Hornet offense. He found Jerome Gross for the big play so far, a 52-yard touchdown on their last drive. Looking for the screen, McNeil with the catch. Scats his way forward, and he's out to the 32-yard line. Gain of 7 on the play. That's what's so impressive about Hoy, Michael, is he has such good poise, and he's so effective in the short passing game, and he's very patient, setting up little plays like that to kind of dink and dunk and pick up some yardage. But then just like that, he'll extend a play, and when you're least expecting it, he'll show you the arm to go deep and make a big play. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that has the kind of cannon that we've seen out of Jake Luton, for example, this season. But he's also the kind of guy who seems to be able to get that ball deep downfield and make that big play nonetheless.
Certainly very accurate, regardless of the method of getting the ball to the receiver. As we saw in that first touchdown, he just dropped it over the defender en route to 6.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did a couple of times last week as they managed to outlast the Pirates, who made a desperate run late and almost got an opportunity to steal that one, but it was a 6-point win for Fullerton. We do have an injury timeout, a Tiger down on the field. We'll step aside very briefly here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. The injured Tiger was Kahani Smith, the safety,
Wow,
who's had a huge year.
That's a big loss if that's the case. If he can't come back, 2 weeks in a row with fumble recoveries, return for 6.
Yeah, he's up to 3 touchdowns on the season now, and he's a defensive back, in case you hadn't got that yet. This one swung out to Hewlett, ridden out of bounds very quickly. Rico Maiden took him out of bounds. Very near the first down marker, but a little bit short, about a yard. Well, call it 2 yards. So 3rd down and 2 coming up after a 1-yard gain. They'll swing 3 receivers out to the far side. McNeil solo to the left. They'll empty the backfield as Hewlett's in motion. Blitz coming, setting up the screen, back to McNeil. McNeil hit behind the line, and he is not going to get the first down. McNeil held to maybe 1 yard on the play. Either way, he is clearly about a yard shy of the first down, and that brings up a 4th and 1 from the 39, or I should say the 34, for Fullerton College. So they try to go short, but good tackling on the near side, and good news for Tiger fans in case you didn't see Kahani Smith back out on the field. So he left under his own power and came back very quickly, so that's certainly a welcome sight for Tiger fans.
Kahani Smith, first team all-conference in the Central.
I don't know how he wouldn't be first team all SCFA. Just a huge year for this defense that has had a fantastic season. High kick. And a good kick, and Yoakum makes the fair catch at the 28, so McGee gets some good air under that one as it's calmed down decidedly here. The wind still blowing somewhat, but not as much as we saw a few minutes ago there, Michael. 4:37 remaining in the opening quarter. And the Tigers will have it from their own 29, trailing by 5. Well, as soon as I say that, here comes the wind. So I see that I'm in mid-season form.
Keep shut on that wind.
I'll start talking about how much wind there is all the time. Maybe that'll work for us.
Well, it seemed to die down as soon as you said it.
Yeah, well, listen, it's about knowing yourself. Receivers left and right on 1st and 10. Anderson gives to Acta, tries to cut it back, falls forward for a gain of a yard. Bermejo and Sanchez, I should say. Sanchez on the stop with a little help from Parcells. Parcells, the leading tackler for the Hornets from his middle linebacker spot. Also chipped in with 7.5 sacks for Parcells. That's the second highest total for linebackers in the SCFA this season. So Parcells excels going after the quarterback. Indeed, the Hornets very aggressive. Here they come on a blitz on 2nd and short. Anderson hit by the second wave and brought down for a sack. So the Hornets pick up their first sack of the day as they come on the blitz. Xavier Chisholm among the first to get there.
See the replay here.
And see Anderson just steps through that first wave, but it's the second wave of Hornet defenders coming through, led by Xavier Chisholm and Jamichael Moore.
Replay being brought to you today by Joe Cap Realty.
So a 3rd down and 13 after the loss. Anderson with a short drop, guns it over the middle. Sliding attempt, and Yoakum couldn't come up with it. So the Tigers will be forced to punt it away after a quick 3 and out.
Yoakum needs to come up with that catch. I mean, that's a beautiful throw. It's a pretty good route, and it's right at the sticks.
Yeah, and he's got some space there. So it's a sliding catch. Wow. It's not an easy catch, but if you're in space, I imagine he would tell you that's a ball that he needs to come up with.
Yeah, I think he got a little short on there going over the middle, and, that's
yeah.
When you hear that pitter-pat.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. But so the 3 and out brings on Acta. He launched a 58-yard punt, his first attempt. This one shorter. Takes a Fullerton bounce, and they'll have to down it at the 42. So a short kick from Acta of 32 yards will give the Hornets very good field position. And, of course, in addition to the stakes of this game, with so much on the line, a berth in the state championship on the line, it adds to the stakes when you think about both of these teams with explosive potential, as we do have a player down.
Is that Acta?
Oh, I can't tell just yet, but the Hornets are not the kind of team that you can keep giving opportunities to no matter how good your defense is, because they can run away from you and put you in a situation where you need to play nearly a perfect football to get back in a game. They have the 5-point lead here and the ball as they continue to look at a Tiger player at the 29-yard line of Riverside.
Maybe Jacoby Herring. I'm trying to get a number down there, Jeff. Do you see it?
Not just yet. They're going to help him to his feet, and it is Jacoby Herring. And he is labored somewhat, but heading off under his own power. So knowing these guys like we do, covering the SCFA for the last few years, I'm betting we'll see Jacoby Herring again pretty soon.
Mike Spada, Jeff Stoynoff with you on today's coverage of the SCFA Championship game here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
So here comes Hoy. He had a typically outstanding game last week, throwing for 358 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also ran for another touchdown in the victory over Ventura. So he's just the kind of guy that you're going to see a lot of good production out of him. McNeil reversing field out near midfield, near the first down marker. It's a 9-yard run for DeAndre McNeil. And they'll give him just shy of 10 yards. It looks like it's about 2nd and inches coming up here. They haven't moved the chains just yet. Yeah, call it 2nd and a short 1. They'll line up in an I formation backfield on 2nd and short. Hoy under center. The give on the right side. Don't know if he got it.
I don't know if he got back to the line of scrimmage. That was one heck of a hit.
Yeah, Rico Maiden crowding the line, the first to get there, and I think you're right, Michael. He lost about a foot. Back to a full 3rd and 1.
This is 4-down territory here, Jeff, with the wind kicking out the way it is. I mean, unless you lose yardage on this play, expect for them to go for it on 4th down.
Full house backfield on 3rd and short. Hoy again under center. The give, straight ahead, second effort, but I don't think he got there once again. And again, it was Maiden, among others, quickly on top. And I haven't seen those chains move yet. Nick Underwood also at the bottom of that pile. So they went a couple of times to Hewlett, and he couldn't get that final yard. And on 4th and short, Hoy is still on the field. Anthony Wood in the backfield, and I think you're exactly right, Michael. They're going to roll the dice. Fullerton on the season, 25 of 39 on 4th down, so very good on 4th down and prolific on 4th down. So perhaps not a huge surprise that they'll line up to go for it here on 4th and short. A lot of confidence in this offense. Hoy, quick throw outside, incomplete. So they will turn it over on downs. Hoy trying to find Asante Wilder, and the throw was a little short. And Wilder couldn't make the shoestring grab. The Tiger defense holds, and they will take over with excellent field position with the wind at their back. 1:40 remaining here in the opening quarter. And not to do a second guessing or a Monday morning quarterbacking after the fact, but I think it is worth noting. It's a surprising call. There is some risk here as they give the ball to the Tigers in a 5-point game at midfield. So a risky call does not go the way of the Hornets. Brown in motion, screened out to Allen. Allen tries to stiff arm Parcells, who rides him out of bounds after a short gain. 2-yard pickup for El Toro Allen. But I know you, Michael. You're a bit of a riverboat gambler. I know you love that call.
Well, you know what? If you take into context the wind and every other factor, big hit.
Big hit. Burris again with a good stick. After the catch by Tremel Davis, they'll give him forward momentum to the 44-yard line of Fullerton. That'll bring up 3rd down and 3. And I think it's showing a lot of confidence in the defense and an understanding that against this opposing offense, they're going to need to put points on the board. They're going to need to take some risks today. Blitz coming on 3rd and short. Anderson stands in, fires on the near side. Wanted Davis. It was incomplete through Davis's hands.
And is this 4th down territory?
Yeah, we wonder, but quickly we see the punting unit coming on. Here's Seth Acta. So the Tigers are not going to play the same game. They will elect to go for field position instead. Again, not a huge surprise with one of the very best defenses in the SCFA, arguably the best. That Coach Tom Kraft is going to elect to play field position and put the ball in the hands of his defense, as it were, to bring this game home. Late in the first quarter here, Acta angles this one toward the near side. It'll go out of bounds inside the 25 and at the 24. So a short kick. They pick up only about 20 yards in field position, punting it away. And we will see the Hornet offense with under a minute to go here in the first quarter. If you're just joining us, Hornets leading at 8-3 on the strength of a 52-yard touchdown pass. Hoy to Jerome Gross. Tigers came back to answer with a field goal, and that brings you up to where we are now. Hoy will work from under center. We didn't see a lot of this last week. This is somewhat of a rarity, but an adjustment being made early. Straight ahead on the carry, out to the 32-yard line. And that's Philip Butler, and I believe that's Butler's first carry today. So we're up to 3 backs that we've already seen. We're still waiting for Kentavious Thomas, but it's a crowded backfield picture for the Hornets this season. So those that have followed Fullerton all year will not be surprised as they come out for a 2nd and 7 play. This very well may be the last play of the first quarter. 22 seconds and counting remaining in the opening quarter. Wood in the backfield. Hoy taking some time. 7 seconds on the play clock. Empties the backfield. 4-man rush, setting up the screen. Tipped in the air and nearly picked off. What an athletic play. Mackenzie Lewis.
Look at the replay here.
In Hoy's face. And not only does he do a great job getting his hands up, but very nearly comes down with that football. And I would ordinarily express surprise that a player could make such an athletic play on defense, but not with this defense. Not with a defense that has 7 touchdowns on the season. And we've seen week after week in our coverage that these guys just have a way of making a big play seemingly every week, sometimes more than one. Last play of the first quarter, 3rd and long. Butler on the give. Slips one tackle, but he's ridden down after a short gain. So a very quick 3 and out will end the first quarter. We'll switch directions and come back for the second quarter. You're watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. And something we've been meaning to do here in our coverage on SoCalCollegeSports.com. I want to give a very special thanks to Christian Munoz and a shout out to Christian providing our music here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, and we certainly appreciate that. And so hopefully Christian's joining us on the broadcast, at least listening in. But a very special thanks and a hello to Christian Munoz, friend of SoCalCollegeSports.com. The Hornet punting unit is on. McGee on for the third time already. Stands at his own 17-yard line, has the snap. High kick. Yoakum makes the sliding fair catch near the 40. Come down to the spot, they'll give him the 39. And that's where the Tigers will take over. So a good job by McGee working with the wind. But the Tigers nonetheless, with solid field position, still trailing it by 5. The Tigers here by virtue of a win in just a classic ball game last week. We hope you joined us on SoCalCollegeSports.com in a war with the Gauchos, and eventually the Tigers outlasted a very game Gaucho squad 49-38. Classic ball game. Acta on the screen, forced out of bounds by Chisholm after a gain of about 4. 2nd down and 6. Just a second half explosion on offense, defense, special teams. The points coming fast and furious, though, capped off by a dramatic forced fumble recovery for a touchdown. Kahani Smith taking it in. Leaping attempt by Hunter. And let's see if there's a flag here, because Hunter takes a hit from Burris. And Burris, shall we say, politically correctly here, finished the tackle. But he rode Darius Hunter about 5 yards back. But I don't see any flags down, so.
That's pretty unnecessary. I'm surprised there wasn't a flag on the field. That would have been the 3rd personal foul of the first half.
And, well, here's an explanation of why we didn't see a penalty. They're spotting it back at the initial line of scrimmage. So they're not giving Hunter, and they're going to say that Hunter made the catch. I wasn't sure he brought it in. Now they're going to reverse it. See, I thought that Hunter dropped the ball, but they're moving it back a couple of yards. So obviously the feeling was that play was still going on, and they were letting Burris continue with the tackle. So Hunter loses a couple. 3rd down and 8 sideline pattern. The pass complete to Yoakum, but short of the line. Short of the 1st down marker. A pickup of a couple. And another 3 and out. And here comes Acta and the Tiger punting unit. Wind starting to pick up again, and Acta will punt this one into the wind. Strange weather here in Yorba Linda here today. It's alternately a little bit sunny, and then it starts to get a little overcast. The wind gusting.
We'll take no rain.
So, yeah, we'll settle for that. But difficult conditions, and usually we have just perfect weather for football. Mayweather hit by the 2nd man through, no gain on the return, and the Hornets will take over at the 26-yard line. And that was a good job by Mayweather fielding that punt. And when we talk about the wind, of course, we could talk about how it's affecting our setup up here, but I think the more germane issue here is that it's very difficult to do things like field punts, and Mayweather there had to catch that one up around his eyes, and a great job to bring that ball in and secure it before taking the big hit. So Justin Mayweather, no gain on the return, and the Hornets have it at the 26. They'll come out with an empty backfield. Tigers showing blitz. Here they come. Hoy rolling right, completes the pass to McNeil. McNeil stiff arms a man and falls forward near the 1st down marker. I think he got it. So McNeil's been very busy. He had a monster game last week in the victory over Ventura. 7 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. And he's already got at least 3 catches that I can remember here in the first half. Hoy again with the empty backfield on 1st and 10. Play clock down to 13 as Hoy looks over the Tiger defense. Snap coming on the blitz. Pop fly near side. Wilder the intended target, and it's just overthrown.
Wind factor on that one for sure.
And Wilder had beaten his man, gotten a step.
It's a great pick play there. Watch it on the replay.
You see Wilder sliding out from the slot. And indeed, good eyes, Michael.
Just more of a crossing route than a pick play, but just a very good play design. That could have been 6 right there.
2nd down and 10. Underwood showing blitz. And now the Tigers drop off, 4-man rush. Hoy steps up, guns the slant. The catch is made by Gross. 6-yard gain on the play. And a 3rd down and 4 coming up, and both offenses have struggled on 3rd down thus far. Probably the longest sustained drive that we've seen was the drive for the Tigers that ended in the field goal.
Yep.
But other than that, it's been an awful lot of 3 and outs, minus the one big play, Hoy finding Gross for the touchdown back in the first quarter. 3rd and 4. Tigers crowding the line, 8 in the box. The give to Butler. He has stood up short of the line, but with second effort, I think he got the first down.
Wow.
It's a terrific individual effort by Philip Butler. He was hit about a yard shy of the first down, but ends up picking up a couple of more yards to get the first down, a fresh set of downs for the Hornets, who have it 1st and 10 at their own 48-yard line early in the second quarter.
For Fullerton, go for the jugular right here. After a big play like that, let's see if momentum.
Yeah, they do have the wind at their back. They can take a shot down the field, certainly. Mayweather in motion. And a whistle before the snap. This is going to work against Fullerton. Yeah, false start.
Little over anxious. I think they knew they were going for one.
Movement on the offensive line. 1st and 15 now from the Fullerton 43-yard line. Jordan Huffman has checked into the game. Receivers left and right on 1st and 15. Quick throw, McNeil with the catch at midfield, slips out of a tackle, slips another tackle. He's down to the 35 with a stiff arm. He's inside the 30. What a great individual effort by DeAndre McNeil. 29 yards. And part of what makes the Hornets so dangerous offensively is the way that they have so many playmakers who can make plays after short catches like that. McNeil turns a short throw into a 29-yard gain. Hoy over the middle, wanted McNeil again, and it's incomplete. Ladero Mosley had the coverage on McNeil. But Hoy really zeroing in on McNeil here in this first half to good effect. As the Hornets are on the move, facing a 2nd down and 10. Justin Walker checking in for the first time today on the far side with Grossman.
Got to bring a blitz here. I'd like to see him dial up some pressure.
2nd down and 10. Hoy again taking some time. Has the snap. 3-man rush. Wood over his left guard, pushing the pile for a gain of about 3. Bagner and Johnson on the stop. 3rd down and 7. That's a tough call. It's an interesting call, Michael, to go on 2nd and long, and they try to go to the ground, but the Tigers are very difficult to run the ball. So a 3rd down and 7 confronting the Hornets. They send a man in motion. Hoy looking right. Pop flies going for Jerome Gross, and it's well overthrown. And a 4th down coming up for the Hornets. The field goal attempt would be about 41 yards. Call it 42. For Aguilar with the wind at his back. And we will see the field goal unit. As Jonathan Aguilar comes on to try this one from straight away. It's a 42-yard attempt. Flags come in on the fake. They were attempting to throw to McNeil on the near side, and it's incomplete. Again, Carmack at the center of the fake kick attempt.
Yeah, they're pulling out all the stops here.
And he had McNeil wide open. He just underthrew it. Now, there is a flag on the near side as both teams retreat to their sidelines.
I want to say there's going to be some kind of illegal formation in terms of where McNeil lined up.
Yeah, it could be. Certainly might have been early movement, but either way, they didn't blow the play dead. So the Tigers are getting ready to go on offense. So they'll decline the penalty against Fullerton, and the Tigers will take over after dodging a bullet. I mean, obviously, I guess the penalty renders that largely pointless, but I think the Hornets, at the very least, had fooled the Tigers unless they already knew this was a penalty and didn't bother because McNeil was all alone.
I think Riverside gets away with one there, and, well, no points on the board on that possession. Now a chance for Riverside to close the gap, possibly take the lead.
Yeah, 11-13 remaining in the opening half. Anderson with a short drop, throws out in the flat, intended for Hunter, and it was underthrown, incomplete. So 2nd down and 10. Hard to say at this point, with the conditions as tough as they are, if Anderson is maybe feeling some effects from the injury last week.
Maybe the injury. I mean, we know that he had a pinky injury earlier in the year that affected his throwing ability. His coming out party was after the Golden West game versus Ventura. I mean, he was lights out. It's a game where they were on the road, found themselves down by 14.
Hunter with a big catch. He's near midfield. He's got some jets to the 35, slips out of a tackle, and he's finally taken out of bounds as he tries to tiptoe the near side. But Darius Hunter has arrived all the way down to the Fullerton 28-yard line, and they can strike just that quickly.
See the replay here. Hunter coming right at you, coming right at the camera. And man, that kid is fast.
And he was in some space. They had finally found a route for him where he had some space over the middle. And it's the Hornets this time who dodge a bullet, as Hunter is not quite able to get the corner. Settles for the big gain that has the Tigers in Fullerton territory. Screened out to Allen. Allen brought down quickly. Jamal Scott on the tackle. Short gain on the play, maybe a yard. So a 2nd down and 9. They'll go trips right. Nope, I'm sorry, receivers left and right here. A 4-wide receiver set on 2nd down and long. Anderson, short drop, looking left. Lobs, looking for Yoakum, who lays out and makes the catch.
Wow.
Down at the 6-yard line.
See if we can get it on replay here. Great back shoulder throw by Anderson, and what a catch.
That's a great job by Malik Yoakum and a good throw by Anderson. Tiger offense coming to life. They're driving deep in Hornet territory looking for the lead.
It came out a little flat, but I tell you what, they're starting to click on all cylinders, even with the weather.
1st and goal from the 6. Allen off tackle on the right side. He's running east-west, and that's not going to work against a Hornet defense that is very stout against the run. Xavier Chisholm in on the stop. It's a loss of 3 yards. And that was something that I think the Tigers were able to do last week. They had a monster game on the ground. Upwards of 300 yards rushing against the Gauchos, but this is a different kind of defense. Very aggressive are the Hornets. They really crowd the line, and they're a good tackling team.
And not only they're good at tackling, they're very good east and west in pursuit. You know, they're almost mirrored images of each other as far as the personnel.
Yeah. Blitz coming on 2nd and goal, fired out in the flat. Herring is cut down short of the goal line. He's down to about the 2. Herring
had the hat trick last week.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. He was one of the heroes, to be sure. 2 touchdowns on the season coming in. And he blows up last week at just the right time for 3 touchdowns.
Look for act up the middle.
And the Tigers needed every one of them to outlast the Gauchos. 3rd and goal from the 3. Anderson looking left, pressure coming. Steps up, throws the back of the end zone, tipped, incomplete. Ross with the coverage on Yoakum. And it's 4th and goal from the 3. And we will see Hilfer and the field goal unit with 8:47 remaining in the first half. That was good protection. Anderson was able to go to his 3rd, 4th check down. Eventually settled on Yoakum, but the coverage was good.
It's just really good quarterback play. I mean, he does a great job of freeing himself up and buying extra time.
4th down, field goal unit on. Hilfer will attempt to hit his 2nd field goal of the game. This is a 20-yard attempt, and Hilfer puts it through. So the Tigers chip away. 8-6 now. Fullerton on top of Riverside. You are watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. 8:44 remaining in the opening half. And a 2-point ball game here in the SCFA Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com. The approach and the kick away. And this, a pooch kick taken at the 34 by the up back, no return. Gets it to the 35. So the Hornets will take over with good field position. And we see the strategy by the Tigers not making a lot of deep kicks, and that's a little bit surprising because statistically, the Hornets have not had a particularly outstanding year in returns. But the decision is made to stay away from the deep kicks and instead go with short kicks and let the Hornets take over with pretty solid field position, but stay away from the big play.
Yeah, I think it makes sense with the wind working against it.
Yeah, kicking into the wind here as they work it from right to left in the first half.
Third quarter up in the north, it's Butte and American River, 9-0, Butte on top.
Butte hosting that game, if memory serves.
I believe you're right.
Blitz coming on 1st and 10. Hoy throws off his back foot, and a juggling catch not made by Justin Walker, so Walker couldn't find the handle, and it's 2nd down and 10.
How about a shout out to Mom, Diana Zepeda, watching at home?
Mom. Well, the whole family's accounted for now.
Hey, Jeff, do me a favor. Say hi to my mom for me.
2nd down and 10. No, don't make me do a reference from that. It's going to be too obscure. Empty backfield for Hoy. Has the snap. 4-man rush. Quick throw. McNeil with the catch. Evades one tackler, but hit immediately at the 41. That's a gain of 6. And a 3rd down and 4 coming up. And other than some catches, Hoy to McNeil, and 1 play to Gross, the Tigers have really throttled this Hornet offense, but they still trail at 8-6. 3rd and 4. The give straight ahead near the 1st down marker. It's going to come down to the spot.
I think they're going to give it to him. Yep.
Anthony Wood on the carry, and he gets 4 yards and an inch on a 3rd and 4. 1st and 10 from the 45 of Fullerton. Pistol formation, back to Wood, straight up the middle, a gain of about 3. Second effort. I don't know if Wood lost the handle on the football, but it looks like they're going to say that Wood was down by contact after a 3-yard gain. And spotted at the 48. We do have an injury timeout, but I see. Okay, we have a Tiger player on the defensive line, it looks like, struggling to get their feet. We'll step aside for a brief injury timeout. You are watching Riverside City College football here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Defensive lineman Connor Sweeney being helped off the field for the Tigers. 2nd down and 7 upcoming for the Hornets in an 8-6 ball game here in the SCFA Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Jeff Stoynoff, Mike Zepeda, the entire SoCalCollegeSports.com team with you here. And our coverage not over yet. Not only do we have today, but we will have the state championship coverage on December 10th.
Doesn't matter where.
Yep. We are wherever we need to be. Tigers crowding the line. Here they come. The handoff on the right side. Wood twisting forward for a pickup of a couple. Maiden with some help from Underwood on the stop. 3rd down and 5 for Hoy and the Hornets. 7:05 and counting remaining in the opening half. Play clock down to 19. Hoy taking some extra time. Here they come on the blitz again. Hoy backing up, throws on the far side, and it's broken up. Jerome Gross, the intended target. Tariq Lewis had outstanding coverage. And I'll tell you, this is not something you want to read too much into, Michael, but Hoy is doing an awful lot of throwing off the back foot, and some of that I think is just his MO. And he's comfortable making throws backing up. But you have to wonder if some of it is also that he is sensing the pressure coming from this Tiger defense. Both of these defenses bring an awful lot of pressure. Yeah. They were among the leaders in sacks in the SCFA. And they make no bones about the fact that they're coming after you. They're coming after the quarterback. Yeah. Not a lot of dropping back into coverage and bend but don't break. These are defenses that are trying to break you. Yoakum on the fair catch. Down at the 13-yard line, so a good kick from McGee will pin the Tigers deep. But any kind of a score here from the Tigers will give them the lead as they trail at 8-6. We'll keep it here.
I want to shout out to David Silverstein, giving us some score updates from the north, and he works, of course, with Butte College, and we will see him next week up in soccer.
Okay, that's right. And will David be making the trip down south here to work? That would be nice. But
if the score does hold,
if Butte holds on, we'll see David in a couple of weeks. All right, that's good. In addition to soccer, throw over the middle. The catch is made by Yoakum. Makes a move on Ross out to the 35-yard line. So Yoakum with another big catch, second drive in a row, in which he's made a big play, a 22-yard catch. Malik was quiet last week in the victory over Saddleback. Had just one catch in the game. But that's the nature of both of these offenses. You never know who it's going to be week to week. And Yoakum is stepping up with a big first half here today. Allen, straight up the gut. Hit but falls forward for a pickup of a couple. More on the stop.
Second and a long 8.
And you see, I think this is a first half that's it really demonstrates how important it is to establish a run game to really put points on the board, because both teams having some trouble running the ball, and you don't see a whole lot of points. It's hard to make big plays. Anderson stepping up, room to run, has the first down and more. He's into Hornet territory and slides down at the 46. So Anderson with the scramble moves the chains for the Tigers. And this drive that started at the 13 is now in Hornet territory. Acta has replaced Allen as the Tigers quickly get it to the line. Plenty of time still remaining in the first half. We're at 5:34 and counting. Anderson, short drop, guns it in the flat. Gordon on the stop after the reception by Herring. Gain of 5 brings up second down and 5. Change on the Hornet defensive line. Quentin Yance coming into the game. Anderson has the snap. Blitz coming. Short drop. That one batted down at the line. The intended target was Malik Yoakum. And third down and 5 now coming up for the Tigers. Both teams have had some struggles on third down. And this is a big one here for the Tigers. Trailing by 2, but looking for the lead. Play action. Anderson with a straight drop. Pop flies, has a man. Herring with the catch. He's going in for a Tiger touchdown. It's Jacoby Herring one more time in the 2016 postseason.
See it one more time here on the replay. Herring wins on the route, gets by his man, and that's an easy touchdown pitch and catch. Colin Anderson put it on the money in stride.
How about Jacoby Herring? 4 touchdowns now in the 2016 postseason for the Tigers, and they have come storming back. The early touchdown from Fullerton gave them the lead, but now it's 13 unanswered by the Tigers, and with 4:56 remaining in the opening half, Riverside now leads Fullerton 13-8. It's the SCFA Championship, brought to you by Joe Cap Real Estate here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Heard.
4:56 remaining in the first half, and now it is Fullerton College who will go to work for the first time in the postseason, trailing, as they trail it 13-8. I see an adjustment being made by the Hornets as they're starting to move up, and the wind has picked up enough to knock the ball off the tee. So they'll re-tee it as McNeil and Mayweather have moved up to their own 20-yard line. So we'll see if the Tigers go with the same strategy. Hard to say it's not working. They're leading the football game by 5. And this one squibbed. Taken by McNeil, who juggles it but has it at the 25. He's out to the 30. Cuts to his left. Finally brought down at the 35. So a 10-yard return for DeAndre McNeil. And the Hornets will again set up with solid field position at the 35-yard line. So Hoy and company will go to work, trailing in this one. Did have the first quarter highlight, Hoy finding Jerome Gross for a 52-yard touchdown.
Here comes the rain.
But other than that, it's a Eurythmics reference there, I believe, if my memory is right. Of course it is. We're talking about the 80s. Hewlett on the carry, and he has stood up and forced back, maybe picked up a couple, out to the 37-yard line.
You and the Wings reference. The 80s and Wings references. Just, you're a scary human.
Really? I do have my my areas of concentration. Anthony Wood on in the backfield on 2nd down and 8. 3-man front for the Tigers. Here's the snap. Hoy, deep drop. Has all kinds of time, still scanning, rolling right. Now the pressure comes and he just has to throw it away. That's terrific coverage, but Hoy was hit late, and a flag comes in, and this may be a personal foul on the Tigers.
I want to say there are 2 fouls. I want to say there's going to be a hold and there's going to be a personal foul. I could be wrong here. It looked like there was definitely some contact.
It was Mackenzie Lewis who got the hit on Hoy, and that brought the flag, I think, on the near side. But let's wait and see what the call is here. But what a momentum killer that would be for the Tigers. Okay, so the only call, there is no call on the hit on Hoy. And instead it is holding, which is declined. So the Tigers will take the down. Wow, that's a lot of confidence in your defense as well. 3rd down and 8. Upcoming for Hoy and the Hornets. 4 wide receivers. Blitz coming. Hoy with a deep drop, lobs it over the middle, nobody home. He was looking for Jerome Gross, and it was incomplete. 4:07. Let's check that. I believe Justin Mayweather was the intended target. Either way, the pass incomplete, and another 3 and out, and the Tiger defense is really starting to dominate here, Michael. We had one big play early in the first quarter, but generally speaking, the Tigers have been able to thwart this Hornet offense so far here in the first half. McGee, high kick. Fair catch signaled for and made at the 23-yard line. So good job by McGee. Working with the wind. And the Tigers will have the football. They'll spot it at the 22 with 4 minutes exactly remaining here in the first half. The Tigers will go to work looking to extend on the lead. Well, to the extent that it might matter in this ballgame, if there's one team that's faced a little more adversity, at least so far in the postseason, it's Riverside. The Pirates made a gallant rush very late, but the Hornets were really in control of that game much of last week. Acta running on the right side is spun down after a gain of about a yard. Meanwhile, it was the Tigers who were up against it a couple of times, as the Gauchos, on at least 2 separate occasions, took the lead in the second half in that ball game. And now it's Fullerton that will have to work uphill here today. 2nd down and 9. Anderson and the Tiger offense taking some time. Now he has the snap. 4-man rush, crossing pattern complete to Hunter, trying to make a move, and he is tripped up after a short gain on the play.
More rain.
Nice open field tackle, Jamal Scott. That's a linebacker able to trip up Hunter. So it's a nice job by Jamal Scott in space to limit Hunter to a gain of just a couple. In fact, they'll say Hunter got back to the line. So 3rd down and 9 for the Tigers. Anderson with a straight drop, and he's going to be sacked. Jamal Scott again. So Scott has a huge series on defense, culminating with a sack of Anderson back inside the 20.
Jeff, I think they really get away with one here. If you look like Fullerton was offside here a little early on the blitz. And unfortunately.
Well, that was a call that we saw a couple times last week, called on Ventura in our coverage of the National Bowl. So we see that call made. So perhaps the Hornets get away with one, but they make the most of the opportunity as Scott sacks Anderson. And Acta will have to punt from inside his 5-yard line. Gets this one away, low line drive kick, a knuckleball taken by Mayweather in Tiger territory. Through a little hole, he's at the 30, slips a tackle at the 25. Mayweather just tripped up, he's still on his feet. He's gonna go. Justin Mayweather for the 2nd consecutive week, delivering the heroics.
Wow.
No flags. Boy, Mayweather slipped a couple of tackles, and then I didn't think he was going to make it when he got inside the 20. Well, we'll see if we can get the replay dialed up one more time. And again, just a remarkable individual effort. A couple of good blocks sprung him, but then inside the 20. Slipped out of a couple of tackles. And Mayweather with the first return touchdown of the season for the Hornets. Well, you just had the feeling in a close game, Michael, that it was going to be a big play on defense or special teams that might start to make a difference in this one. And I would have thought in that scenario we'd be talking about the Tigers having a little bit of an advantage, but it's the Hornets who make the big play, as the Mayweather return gives the Hornets a 1-point lead with 2:03 remaining. And the weather, I'd say the wind is starting to freshen a bit, Michael.
Just a little bit.
It's a little scary on top of the press box.
Is the extra point up yet?
They're still getting ready. I'm going to have to step back out there here. And here they come. And there is a little bit of a delay on the field as the officials huddle up.
I think they want to go get their ponchos.
Fans getting into it. They're having fun no matter what the weather. And it's a 1-point lead for Fullerton.
Can you keep that orange thing out of the view of the camera, please? Thanks.
After the return by Mayweather. Well, we talked about the heroics of Jacoby Herring, up to 4 touchdowns for the Tigers here in the postseason. How about Justin Mayweather? 4 catches on the season, but 6 for 101 yards and a touchdown last week, and now a return touchdown this week.
Jeff, how much time we got over here in the second quarter?
As they ready the field goal, 2:03 remaining here in the second quarter.
So the 2-minute drill coming up here for the Tigers. And
they'll elect to go for the extra point. Well, it's a strange kind of first half where with a 6-0 lead, you see the Hornets go for the 2-point conversion to go up 8-0. But with a 1-point lead, they don't go for the 2-point conversion and instead kick the extra point to go for the 2-point lead. So it's an interesting call. Nonetheless, Aguilar puts it through.
I don't think they're going to catch Tigers off guard anymore as far as that goes.
Yeah, I think 2 times in the first half. You think that might be enough to have caught Tom Kraft and his staff, to have caught their attention?
I think so.
Then maybe they need to be aware. In any event, Aguilar puts it through, and it's a 15-13 game. It's a cold and rainy afternoon, at least by Southern California standards, here today. But
by all standards.
But the football has been outstanding. It's a great matchup and a great ball game so far with 2:03 remaining, 15-13. But hey, our feeling is stay where you are, stay dry, watch the game with us.
Yeah.
We're right here. Let us bring it to you. You don't have to come out here and brave the elements.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, we're here. We're here braving the elements for you. 15-13.
Yeah, you're from the Midwest. This shouldn't bother you.
No, but sadly, in such a short period of time, my blood has significantly thinned, and I consider this to be very cold.
Might want to check your diet.
Well, I don't want to think about that. That's not gonna help. That's gonna be bad. So Lee and Holcomb back deep for the Tigers, who will go to work, trailing now 15-13 after the big special teams play. Aguilar has it teed up, and we are ready to go. Here's the approach. Lee juggles it at the 2, out to the 20-yard line. A little stutter step, and he is wrapped up and brought down at the 23-yard line. A 21-yard return, and with 1:55 remaining, it's the Tigers who will have one more opportunity here to have a say in this first half that has been back and forth. Well, you have to wonder, in these conditions, how often these guys really play on a wet field.
Yeah.
Could be a factor. It doesn't happen too often. Allen trying to get the edge, slips out of one tackle, but he's hit and brought down. Short gain on the play.
See the hit here.
Taj Jones able to stand him up, and Parcells finished him off. Deshaun Taylor in the area.
Is that a loss?
24. They'll say it's no gain. So second down and 10, 1:22, and counting remaining in the first half. They go back to Allen, a little stutter step in the backfield, but he is hit at the line. Chisholm, who's been all over the place in this first half for Fullerton, again on the stop. No gain on the play. Jermichael Moore also in on the stop. Anderson ready. We're under a minute to go. The Tigers seem content to just run out the first half. Allen on the carry. Ridden down after a gain of about 3 yards. 41.2 seconds, and the Hornets will take a timeout. That's their first charge timeout of the first half.
They're in the fourth. American River with a touchdown, 9-7 Butte. Still with a 2-point lead, 10:30 to go.
And of course, Fullerton College Hornet faithful would like nothing more than a repeat of 3 years ago, minus the result of the game, of course. But the last time the Hornets went to the state championship, they traveled to Butte. And wouldn't they like to return the favor and have Butte come down here and meet them one more time? See if they could reverse that. But a long way to go before we get there. In a 2-point game, Acta on to punt.
It's going to have to go a little directional here. It went right at the guy last time.
Yeah, Mayweather bobbled it, but that didn't stop him from going 48 yards to the house, and it's Mayweather back out there waiting at his 41-yard line. And for Mayweather, he came in averaging almost 16 yards per return on punts. So he'd been very good. But that was the first touchdown. Acta sends this one straight ahead, takes a Tiger bounce, now starts to roll back, and they'll down it. Fullerton will have it with very good field position at the 41-yard line, but 33.4 seconds remaining here in the first half, so not a lot of time.
If I'm Fullerton, I'm probably just going to eat the football, maybe go into victory formation, going at half with the 2-point lead. You don't want to allow any kind of momentum shifts when it's in your favor going in at the half, because this defense for RCC, very opportunistic.
Yeah, that's a great point. 7 touchdowns on the season, so this is a little bit of scouting as well. Maybe this is a time against certain teams where you could take a chance, but this is the kind of defense where if you try to make a big play and take a risk, they can turn it around, and all of a sudden we could be looking at a Tiger lead without their offense coming back on the field. 3-man rush, swung out in the flat. Wilder with the catch. He's out of bounds after a short gain out to the 45. Only took about 4 seconds off the clock, so we're still at 29.5 remaining here in the first half. Thinking about the field goal for Aguilar. His long on the season's 38 yards. So they have some distance to cover to get into Aguilar's range. Straight drop for Hoy. Over the middle, nearly picked off. The pass intended for McNeil. And that was a dangerous throw by Hoy, because there was an awful lot of green out there. Maiden had the coverage And if he had seen that ball a little sooner, Rico might have had a play.
Yeah.
3rd down and 6 with 25.9 remaining. They give straight ahead, and a lot of running room. Anthony Wood inside the 40, down to the 34-yard line of Riverside. 1st down yardage and more. They'll stop the clock to move the chains. The Hornets will burn one of their final 2 timeouts. They still have 1 remaining, and they're at the Riverside 35-yard line. So, Michael, I think they elected to go conservative, but it ended up working for them big time.
Well, I wonder what the long is on the season for Fullerton as far as field goals made, and you got the wind at your back. So what's the threshold you have to get the ball at to give you a chance?
We just talked about is that the 38 yards is the long for Aguilar, but I think you make a very good point to remember the wind as a factor here as well.
Give them another 5-7 yards.
Yeah, you think if they can get another 10 yards here, I think it's very reasonable to have Aguilar make the attempt. That would be a 42-yard field goal.
Yeah, I think RCC just went to sleep on that last play there.
Yeah, it was a big run by Wood, down to the 35. And remember, with 19.3 seconds remaining, the Hornets not only stop the clock if they move the chains, but they still have a timeout. So they really can still work the entire field here. There's no play that they can't run, given the timing constraints. Walker on the field with Grossman on the near side. They send McNeil. Split out wide to the far side. 5 wide receivers. Empty backfield. Here come the Tigers on the blitz. Hoy lobs on the far side. Nobody home. Wilder again, the intended target.
That wind really starting to pick up. Just killed that ball.
2nd down. And, well, they're calling it 2nd and 6, but I believe it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, should be 2nd and 10.
Yeah. 15.5 remaining here in the opening half. The Hornets, who lead it by 2, have it at the Riverside 35-yard line. Again, empty backfield for Hoy. Tigers starting to press the line. Here they come. Hoy under pressure, lobs again. Grossman, the intended target, incomplete. 3rd down coming up for Fullerton. So they've taken a couple of shots. Now they're down to 11.7. Still have a timeout remaining. The field goal from here would be 52 yards. That would be long.
Probably not in the range of Aguilar, but you never know.
Hoy working from the shotgun. Play clock at 8. Blitz coming. Hoy again throwing off the back foot. The pass intended for Walker, who had broken off the route. So it was well overthrown. And a 4th down with 7.7 remaining, and not a lot of great options for Fullerton at this point. Field goal would appear to be a non-starter. So they'll instead confront a 4th and 10. And it's going to have to be a fairly quick play even with the timeout, with 7.7 seconds remaining in the opening half. And this might be just take a shot at the end zone.
Yeah, look for McNeil here. Big body,
he's on the
target.
Near side in the slot as they'll spread it out with 5 wide. Hoy with a deep drop, under pressure, into the end zone, and it is broken up. Gross was the intended target, but the pass broken up by Manu Hudson-Rasmussen, who had good coverage, and with 0.5 seconds remaining, there will be time enough just for the Tigers to come out, and one would expect, just take a kneel and send this one into the half with the score 15-13.
Who's the
and we'll figure out a way
Dan Marino who perfected the victory formation fake going at half?
Well, I believe he did it once to the Jets. I want to say it was 1994 or 95. And it's quite the legendary play. I don't know how often they ran that play other than that, but he did definitely victimize the Jets late in one of the typical Miami Jets circus ball games. Acta hit behind the line, ends up losing a yard on the final play of the first half. We head to the locker room, 15-13, Fullerton on top of Riverside. You're watching the SCFA Championship, brought to you by Joe Cap Real Estate here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. And we welcome you back to Yorba Linda for SCFA championship coverage here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Did have to step away abruptly. There is a weather alert going on. There was a lightning alert here at the stadium. The stadium was emptied. We needed to vacate our spot in order to take safety. The alert, they have resumed the game. We are in the third quarter with the score 15-13, Fullerton on top of Riverside. We hope to have camera coverage very shortly. We are working on our establishing a video picture at this point. In the meantime, we will have audio coverage for you here coming up shortly. Let me just step outside and see if I can get a visual here, and we'll bring you up to date with what's going on here in the third quarter of the SCFA championship game. Well, we're not always prepared for a torrential rainstorm here on top of the press box. But again, we apologize. We did have the coverage. The lightning alert did force us to an abrupt stoppage, and we are happy to rejoin you now. And we will have a picture for you shortly, but in the meantime, we will keep you abreast with an audio call. .55 remaining in the third quarter. The Tigers have the football after a fumble was recovered by Nick Underwood. So we'll set the situation for you here. Playing in a downpour here from Nathan Chappell Stadium on the campus of Yorba Linda High School for the SCFA championship. The Tigers have the football after the turnover, and a penalty being marked off on the call appeared to be a late hit on Colin Anderson out of bounds on the near side. That takes the football from the Riverside 40 to the Fullerton 45-yard line. And Mike and Jorge Zepeda are hurriedly trying to set up our camera for a shot here. And in the meantime, we will keep you abreast of the developments in the ballgame. Anderson working from the pistol formation as he sets the offense 1st and 10 from the Fullerton 45-yard line. El Toro Allen in the backfield to Anderson's left. A man in motion. Anderson with a straight drop, feeling the pressure, and he is going to quickly shovel the ball forward. He was wrapped up. They're going to wave the play dead, and I believe they're going to call this a sack. Sanchez had Anderson wrapped up. He was trying to shovel the ball to El Toro Allen, and Allen couldn't find the handle. And a break here for the Tigers. They will give him credit for the shovel and call it an incomplete pass. So a heady play by Colin Anderson as he was in all kinds of trouble wrapped up by Sanchez. I'm thinking of the old, of course, 80s in the grasp rule, and they didn't have that call anymore. So Anderson alertly gets rid of the football, and the incompletion actually saves the Tigers about 10 yards. So a 2nd and 10 with 10:32 remaining. Blitz coming, lob to the near side. Brown goes up, and he can't find the handle. It was a wet football. Brown had both mitts on it, but he couldn't bring it down. Brown had a shot at that football, but it is very wet out here, and it's not going to be easy to bring in long passes. So a 3rd down and 10 now facing the Tigers at the Fullerton 45. Three wide receivers split out to the far side as the Tigers in the road white uniforms work it from right to left here in the third quarter. Anderson working from the shotgun. The Hornets in a 3-man front. They bring a couple on the blitz. Anderson stepping up. Shovel pass is caught by an offensive lineman at the 41-yard line. So the gain is about 4 yards. That's well shy of the 1st down marker. There is a Tiger down on the field. They'll take a look at an injured Tiger. It's Colin Anderson, but he's getting to his feet, and he appears to be fine. The 4-yard gain on the completion to an O lineman brings up a 4th down and 6. I don't see a flag on the field. You would think that would be an ineligible receiver, but no call at this point. Another heady play as Anderson is feeling the pressure. And the Tigers will have to punt. Now a very late flag comes in as they're setting up to punt. And let's see what the call is as a couple of yellow flags come out with 10:19 remaining. So the Hornets with a good stand defensively after the Tigers had gotten it into Fullerton territory via a first down and a 15-yard penalty. But this one will back up the Tigers back to their own 44, and Acta will come on to punt early in the third. Again, we're sorry we've lost our picture. Weather problems here in Yorba Linda. A lightning warning prompted a quick finish to our first half broadcast as we had to vacate our spot here at Nathan Chappelle Stadium. But we are back now and setting up. We will have a picture for you very shortly. Acta with a line drive kick taken by Mayweather at the 28-yard line, and that's where Fullerton will take over. 15-13, they lead it here in the third. So the Hornets huddle up before they come out, working it left to right here in the third quarter. They'll have it at their own 29 after the Acta punt. So Jordan Hoy, who had a touchdown pass in the first half to Jerome Gross, but largely the Tigers did a pretty good job on him in the first half. It was a big special teams play late in the half that gave the Hornets the lead. Hoy mishandles the snap, but he comes up with it, now just has to pick his way forward and ends up picking up about 5 yards. So a second down and 5. Coming up, that was an alert play by Hoy as he bobbled the snap. Luckily, the ball bounced right back up, but he managed to plunge ahead and pick up about 5 yards. So a second down and 5, very manageable for the Hornets as the clock runs with 9:43 remaining in the third. Straight drop for Hoy. Feeling the pressure, he's rolling right, looking, lobs, he wanted Wilder, and the pass incomplete. Tariq Lewis had blanket coverage on Wilder, and a third down and 6 coming up for the Hornets. And we do have our picture. And we will have Jorge Zepeda. Yes, updating. Get our scoreboard right here for you. 15-13 Fullerton, 9:35 remaining in the third, and a third down and 6 for the Hornets. Marcus Grossman in motion. Hoy on a designed roll, swings it out to Grossman. He's tripped up. It'll come down to the spot. This is very close. So this will come down to the spot, and they're going to give Grossman the first down. So a good job by Grossman, slipping out of a tackle, and he'll have it out to the Fullerton 39, 1st and 10. Tight ball game here and a lot on the line. American River pulls the mild upset going to Butte and winning 15-9. It's a final. So American River punches their ticket. They will be in the CCCAA championship game on the 10th. Wide open, McNeil can't make the fingertip grab. Hoy can't believe it. He's got McNeil and nobody's within 25 yards of him. It's like the Tigers didn't even start the play.
Don't zoom in too much. You're not on the field now, okay? Don't zoom in too much. Zoom in a little bit.
What an unbelievable opportunity for the Hornets as McNeil was, with no exaggeration, 25 yards in the clear. And Hoy put a pretty good pass out there, but McNeil couldn't quite catch up, got his fingertips on it, but comes up empty. 2nd and 10. The handoff on the counter, running room for Hewlett, who's brought down after a gain of about 5. That's a great close by Kahani Smith to bring down Hewlett. 3rd down and 5, upcoming. Hewlett was the hero last week, 117 yards. And how much did Hewlett come out of nowhere last week with the 117-yard effort against the Pirates? His previous season high was 39, and he comes up with 117. This one screened out to McNeil. Modest gain on the play of about a yard, and it'll bring up, well, by my count, it should be 4th down and 4. And indeed it is. So Hewlett was the hero last week on the ground along with Mayweather. Who's it going to be this week for the Hornets or the Tigers? It's seemingly someone different in every game we cover. McGee will come on to punt. 8:08 and counting remaining in the third. Yoakum waits back at his 15-yard line. McGee gets off a good kick, taken by Yoakum at the 17. And that's where the Tigers will take over, trailing it by 2. 7:58 remaining in the third quarter. Fullerton on top of Riverside 15-13. You're watching the SCFA Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Dad, nice job on camera. Good job.
Thanks, bud. And we rejoin you from Nathan Chappelle Stadium. Anderson with the snap. Might have been some movement. No flags as of yet. This one completed on the far side for a gain of about 5. And the Hornets are saying the ball is loose and that they have it. Let's see what the call is. No signal yet. This would be a huge play in this game that has been, to my memory, with only the one turnover here early in the third quarter. There was a fumble by Fullerton. So they're still unpiling bodies on the far side. And we'll wait and see what the call. And there's a celebration coming from the Hornets. They have the turnover.
Wow.
On a fumble after the reception, I want to say by Tremel Davis. And a big play there as the Hornets force their first turnover of the day, and it's huge as it comes in the red zone for the Tigers. Well, just outside the red zone. They'll spot it at the 22, and that's where Fullerton will go to work with a golden opportunity to extend on a 2-point lead. So Hoy, joined by Hewlett in the backfield, has 3 wide receivers, split out to the near side. McNeil solo left, has had a big game already. He is matched up with Manu Hudson-Rasmussen over on the far side. Hewlett gets the call over his left guard. He's wrapped up quickly after a gain of a couple. Deshaun Fortune in on the tackle.
This game being brought to you by GeoCap Realty.
2nd down and 8. The Hornets working in the no huddle. Hoy rolling right, looking into the end zone, just short of the end zone. It's caught by Wilder. A nice leaping grab by Wilder down at the 4-yard line. Hoy gets good protection on the designed rollout and finds Wilder for a 12-yard pickup. It's 1st and goal from the 3. Pistol formation. Hewlett lowers the shoulder, in for the touchdown. The Hornets take advantage of the Tiger turnover, and they now lead it 21-13 with the point after pending. Well, when you're talking about an offense that scores over 50 points a game, I think it goes without saying that you don't want to give them short fields. And the Tigers cough one up here in the third quarter. A fumble deep in their own territory. And the Hornets, in just 3 plays, take it in. With Hewlett, his 2nd consecutive week with a rushing touchdown. This one comes from 3 yards out. And the score now, Fullerton 22, Riverside 13, 7:05 remaining in the third quarter. You're watching the SCFA Championship here at SoCalCollegeSports.com. Back in Yorba Linda, 22-13. The Hornets back up 9. This represents their largest lead of the game. And this is a terrific response. We made the point earlier that they took the 8-0 lead and that the Tigers, unsurprisingly, were not daunted and came back with 13 straight to take a 13-8 lead. But just when you thought the Tigers might have the momentum in this game, it's the Hornets who've responded with a couple of touchdowns, one on special teams, and a short touchdown after they force a turnover, and now they lead at 22-13 after putting 14 unanswered on the board. So again, these are two teams that have had outstanding seasons here in 2016, dominating performances. It's been a crowded leaderboard at the top in the SCFA this year. Saddleback, Long Beach, Ventura, all having terrific seasons. But these two teams have really stood out and been outstanding this year. And it's a very deserving championship game between two programs that have had phenomenal years.
Yeah, no Cinderellas in this one.
No, exactly right. I think that is safe to say.
According to our weather correspondent, Diana Zepeda, my mom, in Santa Ana, she says the sun is out and the rain has stopped.
Well, let's get that over here as quickly as possible. El Toro Allen on the screen, ahead for a gain of about 5, out to the 33.
Well, I'll tell you what, I thought the first half, outside of a couple of really key plays, was really won by the Tigers, even though they went in down by 2 at the half. If they can get that momentum back and obviously avoid shooting themselves in the foot, we saw the fumble earlier that led to the last 7 for Fullerton. I think they have a really good chance of really reestablishing themselves here in the third quarter.
Yeah, a long way to go. And Mike, is there any greater example of how important special teams can be in football than a game like this, where I think you're exactly right as Hunter makes the reception and gets the first down out to the 44. The Tigers really seem to have the better of it in the first half, but one big play on special teams, the Mayweather return, completely reverses the field and instead gives Fullerton that peace of mind going into the locker room that they had the lead.
Now, Jeff, is it Mayweather or Manyweather?
Is it who?
Uh-oh.
Broken play for Anderson. Well, I hope it's Mayweather. My apologies. 1-yard run for Anderson on the broken play.
Maybe his real name was Mayweather, and then he wanted to change it to just disassociate himself. To separate himself.
It is entirely possible. It is a well-known name in certain circles.
It's true. This being one of them.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people who are listening who are like, who are they talking about? So it's only in the smallest circle as Hunter bobbles the throw from Anderson, can't make the catch, and we're going to see more of that, I suspect, here down the stretch in this game because it's very wet out there. It's been a steady rain probably since about the start of the second quarter.
Probably not going to see a lot of deep passes. It's probably going to be a lot of bubble screens, short, get your fast guys in space. We've seen Darius Hunter with a couple catches here.
3rd down and 9, some movement on the far side, and here comes the flag as Hunter broke early in the slot on the far side. Now a 3rd and 9 becomes a 3rd and 14. And Michael, I feel like the Tigers are really feeling the effect that they haven't been able to get the running game going today.
Yeah.
It's been an awful lot of 3rd and longs to my memory, and that puts a lot of pressure on Colin Anderson, on these receivers as well to make plays.
Well, 270 yards plus last week versus Saddleback, a very good Gaucho defense, and this week slow, tough sledding. But I mean, I have to imagine that the field conditions have something to play into that.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help. 3rd and 14 as they spread it out with receivers left and right. Anderson has the snap, 3-man rush, good pocket, steps up, guns it over the middle, double coverage on Yoakum. And it's a good thing the pass was overthrown for the Tigers because that was going to be a hard one for Anderson to slip in there.
Yeah, I thought Anderson maybe had an opportunity to run a little bit, but.
Yeah, bracket coverage by Jones and Taylor on Yoakum, and good coverage. And that's a great job by Fullerton mixing it up a little bit as well. They normally are a very aggressive blitzing team, but that time they dropped 8 in coverage. Anderson had time, but nowhere to go with the football. And he locks in on Yoakum, and the pass incomplete, so Acta on to punt. Here's the snap, low kick from Acta. This one's going to take a Tiger bounce, a good Tiger bounce, all the way inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line. So a good kick from Acta, reverses the field somewhat, and the Hornets will take over with 4:59 remaining here in the third quarter.
Now this is where your defense needs to really step up. They've done so all year. A lot of big plays throughout this season, 2016 for the Tigers, and they need a big one right now.
Yeah, I think part of it, one other thing to keep in mind is that the Tigers have been so very good at home. Now, of course, with a record of 10-1, they've been very good on the road. They're 4-1 on the road this season. But their big performances, a lot of their big performances and their really good wins came in impressive home performances last week, of course, chief among them, but also the victory over Mount San Antonio College as another notable win for the Tigers that came at Wheelock. But they're having to venture out on the road here in a very tough assignment. And I think it always helps a defense to make big plays when they're playing in the confines of the home stadium.
Jeff, how many times do we often talk about, sometimes you'll get the team that's supposed to be there and the Cinderella, anything can happen in football, but this year, the SCFA, the championship game, got it right.
Yeah.
Two best teams in the SCFA this season, Fullerton and RCC, not by much, but by enough.
Yeah, a vindication of the committee perhaps in
Absolutely.
some ways. It raised some eyebrows when Fullerton, the at-large team, got the number 1 bid, the number 1 seat. Hoy looking for McNeil, overthrown. 3rd down and 8 quickly for the Hornets. But you look at how the Tigers played last week and their victory as the number 2 seed, and the Hornets able to hold serve in their opening round, and right now with a 9-point lead late in the 3rd quarter. So I think you have to say that the committee did a nice job seeding as well.
Jim Sartoris and the boys in company.
3rd down and 8. 4:17 remaining in the 3rd. 3 wide receivers split out to the far side.
Comes a blitz.
It's Maiden showing blitz. They'll try the handoff on 3rd and long. This isn't going to get the first down, a pickup of about 3 or 4 yards out to the 25, and the Hornets will be content to just punt it away as Hewlett picks up 3, but he's well short of the first down marker. They will wind the clock, 4 minutes and counting remaining in the 3rd quarter. A lot of time for the Tigers, but you have the feeling they need a big play here, Michael.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think they've had a couple of sustained drives, but those ended in 3s rather than 6s. And I think that's hurt them a little bit on the board. But they could use a downfield play. They could use a quick strike. McGee, short kick. Yoakum's going to let it bounce. And it takes a Hornet bounce inside the 40, down to the 34-yard line. It just won't stop rolling. So the Tigers will take over at their own 34. You're watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you today by Joe Cap Realty. Anderson ready. Has the snap. Short drop, looking right. Completes the pass out to the 41-yard line. Jacoby Herring with the reception. That's a gain of 7 and a 2nd down and 3.
Plays like that really set up double moves for your outside receivers, and Herring, couple of long touchdowns last week came on double moves.
Yeah, they have the long-range possibility. Straight drop for Anderson, going deep, going for Herring. Herring has the catch. Another touchdown for Jacoby Herring.
Love it when I'm right.
Yeah, I would say you were spot on, my friend. 59 yards. Jacoby Herring continues to terrorize opposing secondaries. 5 touchdowns now in the last just under 7 quarters. And Jacoby Herring is turning into the number 1 playmaker here for the Tigers, and that's not bad for a team that has Darius Hunter as well. As this guy is just making plays all over the field. Anderson finding Herring on another long touchdown. Well, just what we were talking about. The Tigers could use a big play, and here it comes. 3:03 remaining in the 3rd. Riverside back within 2, 22-20. Stick around. It's the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Joe Cap Realty. .303 remaining in the 3rd. The Tigers answering back. The long touchdown, Anderson to Herring, and it's now 22-20 with 3:03.
That's a big play from Jacoby Herring. And
just a huge play. And
I think I heard the cannon blast from Wheelock Stadium go off.
Tell you, the PA voice over there could probably carry from there.
That's a fact.
If he wanted to, he could probably call the PA from over there, even when they're on the road.
Justin Manyweather.
Okay, so let's get that. Hopefully, we've known who we were talking about.
I don't see another Justin Mayweather on the team, so I think we're good.
Yeah, yeah, that would be an unfortunate coincidence if that turned out to be the case. Squib kick, taking on a big hop at the 12-yard line, out to the 30, and to the 34-yard line. It is the aforementioned. Well, actually, yes, that is the aforementioned Manyweather.
That's right.
All right, so out to the 34-yard line.
Spread the word, everybody. If you're not in front of a computer to watch the game, you go to our website on your mobile browser, www.socalcollegesports.com, and you can catch this on the home page. Just click the play button. You can catch us mobile.
Anywhere you go.
Yeah, you got to go to the store. You got to go to the drive-thru. Hey, you do what you got to do. We got you covered.
We got you covered. That's right. So Hoy and the Hornets on, seeing their lead sliced to 2. Straight drop, 4-man rush. Hoy going up top, wants McNeil. Nearly had the one-handed catch, but he can't bring it down. Hudson Rasmussen on the coverage.
That's impressive for McNeil, though, to get a step on Hudson Rasmussen, because he's a pretty fast guy, and McNeil's a big body.
Yeah.
Big body with speed.
And Hoy is really locked in on Manyweather today. We don't have the targets, or I should say McNeil today, and we don't have the targets in front of us, but I'd say at least 15 targets for McNeil today would not be an exaggeration. So Hoy sees something he likes in that matchup in a 2nd down and 10 as the Tigers crowd the line. Quick pitch on the near side, and then a little move by Hewlett. He's out past the 40, slips out of another tackle. Finally brought down at the 46-yard line. Good hard running by Hewlett. They'll give him the 47. That's a 12-yard run. Lewis finally on the stop, but not before the Hornets move the chains. Moving quickly, Hewlett straight up the gut. He's going to pick up about 3. Nice job keeping the legs moving by Hewlett as he was met at the line, but managed to move the pile.
Indeed.
Fortune in on the stop. 2nd down and a long 7 for Fullerton. The football resting on the Fullerton 49-yard line. Hoy has time on the blitz, finds a receiver for a big gain for Fullerton. It's Grossman. He's at the 30, picks up a block, but he's hit at the 28-yard line. A Tiger player is still down on the field.
That's McNeil cracking back and laying out the defender. You see it right here. He comes back and just absolutely pops a Tiger player, and he is still down. Wow. I can't see numbers.
So we have a Tiger player down on the field. We'll step aside for an injury timeout very quickly. The Hornets on the move after the long completion by Grossman. You are watching the SCFA Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Back to Nathan Chappelle Stadium, and the Hornets with a 1st and 10 at the Riverside 28-yard line. The give straight ahead. Hewlett with running room. He's at the 15, breaks a tackle at the 10, still churning the legs. Hewlett's in for a touchdown. What an answer by the Hornets, coming back after the long play, the long touchdown to Herring. And the Hornets come back on their part. Hewlett with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game, breaking tackles on his way. And it's now 28-20, and the Tigers will have to go back to work again, as Aguilar is on for the extra point. Well, this is one of the strange strange ethos of this matchup in recent memory is that the Tigers seem to be so very good against everybody else, but this is a team that they struggle against, that just finds a way to make plays. How many guys have been able to rip off runs like that against Riverside this year? And yet, Hewlett and the Hornets able to find a way as he takes one in, and they now lead it 29-20 with 1:38 remaining here in the third quarter. Working on 3 consecutive wins in this matchup. The Hornets, including 2013, where the Hornets went to the state championship game eventually, and Riverside had an outstanding year that year, going 10-2, but the one team they couldn't beat was 2 losses at the hands of Fullerton College that season. So Aguilar will get it teed up after a great response by Fullerton College. A big play, Hoy finding Grossman. And then the long run by Hewlett. There's a pooch kick again, taken by the up back. Just inside the 30. Let's see where they end up spotting it. 27-yard line after the fair catch by Gutierrez with 1:38 remaining here in the third quarter, and the Tigers need to answer again.
Where's Jacoby Herring?
Yeah. Well, if it's anything like what we've seen so far in the postseason, we'll be seeing him shortly. Well, this is roundabout the time for those that have followed the Tigers all season, in particular last week, where Darius Hunter got into the act with a couple of touchdowns coming late in that ballgame after a fairly quiet start. And he's another guy who can make lightning strike in a hurry.
Yeah.
I use that term somewhat advisedly today. But Anderson on the design roll, working the far side, Herring with the catch. Knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 5. Ross takes Herring out of bounds after a gain of 5. And it's a 2nd down and 5. Anderson leading the Tigers, and what a season he has had. Started the season backing up Ian Feber, but took over in the victory over Golden West and really never let go of the job. 26 touchdowns against just 3 interceptions. He's been very good again today with a couple of more touchdown passes, no interceptions in the game. You just can't play the position a whole lot better than Colin Anderson has this year. Working the near side, overthrown. Pass intended for Maiden. Coverage by Taj Jones, who had an outstanding interception last week. The Hornets rotate quite a few defensive backs in their system, and it was Jones who made a terrific adjustment on a ball thrown by Luton when it looked like he had, I want to say, Kendrick Mallory open, and it was just a great close by Jones to make the interception in the third quarter of that ball game. Anderson with a straight drop. Uncorks the long pass, going back to Maiden, the leaping attempt, and he can't make the catch. So they're picking on Taj Jones, but he's been up to the challenge. A couple of incompletions, and now it's 4th down. We do have a flag on the field back near the line of scrimmage.
Get the camera back to the line. Thanks. Offsides, maybe?
So we'll wait on the call. Well, it didn't blow the play dead, so you wonder perhaps this is going against Fullerton. It's 4th and 4, so a 5-yard penalty here defensively is huge. But it looks like they're getting ready to mark this off against Riverside.
Yeah, probably a hold.
Well, let's see. Well, here's the call. And it is indeed against Riverside, so it'll be declined by Fullerton, and instead we'll see Acta in the punting unit ticking down to the final minute here in the third quarter, and Acta will have to punt from his own 5-yard line, and here comes Manyweather. A hero last week, another huge play this week, and this guy has been a story here in this 2016 postseason. Hornets are going to get it back, likely with good field position. Already in front by 9. Looking to really take command here heading into the 4th. Line drive kick from Acta, directional kick out of bounds on the far side. We'll see where they end up spotting this one, but it's going to be in Riverside territory. So the Tiger defense, with their backs up against it, as the Fullerton has the ball at the Riverside 40.
Tigers need
first and 10.
They need a Ray Lewis motivational speech there on the sideline.
At least a Ray Lewis motivational dance. They're requesting some music.
Well, they won't get one from me.
Come on, just seeing you throw it down, that would be inspiring.
My wife's 8 months pregnant. She dances better than I do.
Yes, but your wife is a graceful woman.
It's true.
I mean, it's even at 8 months pregnant,
I appreciate
she's still got you. Hoy with a 1st and 10 has the snap. Hewlett on the carry, a little stutter step, and now has some running room. Cut down just past the first down marker. It's a 12-yard run for Hewlett. And the Hornets are starting to get things going in the ground game. And that is not good news for the Tigers late in the third here. Meanwhile, a Hornet player is down on the far side.
Jeff, I think what you're seeing here, let's watch a replay. I think the Tigers are over pursuing and not staying disciplined. That's allowing some of the cutback lanes to open up. And that's one of the reasons why you see Fullerton having so much success with the ground game.
Yeah, I think that's a terrific point, because on the last couple of runs by Hewlett, you've seen that little hesitation, a little stutter step at the line, and I think an adjustment was made there to be a little more patient, maybe let the hole develop a little bit more. And that's something that you often see that's a hard thing to teach. And sometimes you see that the really great backs seem to innately kind of do that.
It's true.
And so a lot of credit to Hewlett, who's done it here on a couple of carries in this game to great effect.
Do you think Ben Kingsley's on the sideline over there? Don't move until you see it?
I think that they would be similarly mystified, as most of us would be, if it was like, what is he talking about?
And then Lawrence Fishburne on that touchdown run. That is.
I'll tell you what he'd do. Would he make it easier for Gerald Hewlett by just sweeping all the offensive linemen off the field? Now no one's going to follow it. But we do love that movie, Searching for Bobby Fischer. It's not to give a plug, but it's
a lot of people watching right now saying, what are they talking about?
Fine film. Hoy on a 1st and 10. Dumps it in the flat. Grossman with the catch. He's at the 25, makes a little move, and he's hit out of bounds. Again, near the first down marker, and it looks like he's got it. That's a great little stutter step by Grossman. Made a couple of Tigers miss. Turns about a 5-yard gain into a 12-yard gain. The Hornets have it rolling on offense, really, for the first time today. You get the sense that they're in a good rhythm, and they have some momentum going. Final play of the third quarter from the 15. Hoy pop flies the far side, looking for McNeil, and it's incomplete. Well, I spoke too soon, 10 seconds left, so with the incompletion, this will likely be the final play
Jeff,
of the third quarter.
One of the things I was told during the week about Fullerton is, they're a team that likes to wear you down. They're very deep on both lines, offense and defense, and as the game goes on, they just seem to get stronger, and we're seeing Riverside kind of wear down defensively.
Yeah, especially that front. I think that big offensive line and the multiple backs starting to tell a story. Straight ahead, this time it's Wood bouncing off tackles. He's in for the touchdown. 35-20, the Hornets starting to take command. And I think you were pressing it, Michael, as that time it looked like Wood just ran through an arm tackle at the line and then nobody home. So it's been a busy third quarter for Aguilar, the Fullerton faithful, fully getting into it now with 5.7 seconds remaining, and the Hornets starting to smell it, leading this one by 15. And it's getting to the point where the Tigers might need to pitch a shutout here to get this one done.
Jeff, I got a question. Was it 21 points scored last week in the fourth quarter?
In the Saddleback game?
That's correct.
I thought it was more than that, but
no, I meant just for Riverside.
Just for Riverside. That sounds about right. It was 49. Yeah, I think you're right, because I think the Herring touchdown on the play where Anderson was injured was the last play of the third quarter with the point after, and I think that made it 28-20 at that time, or 28-21, and then I think the two teams combined for 38 points in the fourth quarter.
Is that the final play of the fourth quarter, or third quarter rather?
We have 5.7 remaining here, but yeah, Anderson's touchdown last week was on the final play.
That's right.
Of the third quarter. And so, yeah, I believe it was a 28-21 game heading into the fourth, and then the fireworks ensued.
Back to the
What a classic finish that was. Meanwhile here, the Tigers are going to need something even more dramatic as they now trail at 36-20. The Hornets put 21 on the board here in the third quarter.
Wow.
Keyed by a big running game. Hewlett with a touchdown run, Wood with a touchdown run. And that offensive line deserving a lot of credit. Another pooch kick on the near side, the fair catch made. This is well done by Aguilar because the ball's only at the 28. That's not the greatest field position in the world. Meanwhile, the third quarter that I thought was almost done just won't finish. We still have 5.7 seconds remaining. So. All right, we might have lost the camera for a second. We'll see if Michael can take a look at that. And again, we will get that straightened out for you as quickly as we possibly can. Anderson, short drop. And he's going to be sacked to end the third quarter. The Hornets in full command. It's Montre Bonner who takes Anderson down by the ankles to end the third. So when we return for the fourth, the Tigers will be facing a second and long. You are watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you today by Joe Cap Realty. And we welcome you back to Nathan Chappelle Stadium, and we're working on restoring our camera here to start the fourth quarter in a 36-20 game. Riverside facing a 2nd and 15 after the sack that ended the third quarter. So Anderson with receivers left and right has the snap. Short drop, looking over the middle, pressure coming again. Anderson dancing in the pocket, slips away from one tackle, and he is hit right near the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go with that football. Jamal Scott moving up on the delayed blitz eventually wrapped up Anderson. And now it's 3rd and 15 for the Tigers, who are having all kinds of trouble figuring out this Hornet defense. They had gotten back within 2 at 22-20, but a pair of touchdowns has given the Hornets a commanding 16-point lead. They'll empty the backfield. Anderson with a straight drop, 3-man rush, stepping up, completes the pass over the middle. Hunter with the catch. He's right near the first down marker. It's going to come down to the spot. I think he's about a half a yard shy. But let's see what the spot is, and it looks like Hunter got it. A late flag comes in. This after the play. Hunter with a 15-yard catch has the first down, and this is going to work against Fullerton. So after the play, a dead ball foul is going to give the Tigers 15 more yards. That's an enormous call. So the personal foul takes it to the 47-yard line of Fullerton. And seconds ago, the Tigers were facing a 3rd and 15. But they complete the pass to Hunter, picking up the 3rd and long and get the penalty. And now they're in Hornet territory. Play action. Anderson looking left, airs it out, double coverage, and it's incomplete. Flags coming in. So late flags coming in. There was some contact. Maiden was the intended receiver. And he was well covered, but I want to say the defender really never got their head around. And that brought the flag. So this is a big call. Potentially more yardage coming to the Tigers, and Fullerton, who really hasn't hurt themselves too badly with penalties at all here today. A bad time for 30 yards in penalties as they're trying to salt this one away. But keep in mind, at 16 points, we're still only talking about a 2-score game. 14 minutes exactly remaining in the game. Tremel Davis in the slot on the far side is checked in. They're showing blitz. Here they come. Crossing pattern over the middle, dropped by Davis. So Anderson does a good job checking down, finds Davis, the hot read against the blitz. And Davis just can't hang on. So a 2nd down and 10. Davis will head to the sidelines. Here comes Darius Hunter. A lot of time for the Tigers, but they've gone almost exclusively to the air here in the second half as El Toro Allen lines up in the backfield. Gotten away from the running game. Anderson dropping back again, feeling the pressure. This one lobbed on the far side, overthrown, intended for Maiden. Both Maiden and Hunter in the area. Quickly now, 3rd and long, 3rd and 10 coming up. Tigers patiently working their way to the line. Play clock at 16, so a lot of time. 4 wide receivers for Anderson. 4-man rush, low snap, but Anderson has it. Feeling the pressure, rolls away. Tries the near sideline, Herring, the intended receiver, incomplete. Ross had good coverage, and it's 4th down and 10, and you suspect that at the 32-yard line, this will be a situation where you might see the Tigers go for it. It would be 49 yards. That's just outside of Hilfer's long on the season of 48. So Anderson and the offense remaining on the field. Yoakum and Herring to the near side. Hunter and Maiden to the far side with El Toro Allen in the backfield. See if the Hornets elect to bring a blitz here on 4th and long. Here they come. Anderson, good protection. Throws a leaping catch nearly made by Hunter, but he can't hang on. It looked for a minute like he got his hands on it, but Hunter can't make the circus catch. And the Tigers turn it over on downs as the drive stalls in Hornet territory. And with 13:40 remaining, this becomes a big drive in this ball game. If the Hornets can put points on the board, it becomes a 3-score game. Jordan Hoy has had a quiet afternoon. If my memory is right, Michael, I believe he has 1 touchdown pass today. Could be wrong. I know Hewlett had a run. Hewlett has 2. There was the return for a touchdown.
I think it's just the one, the opening.
Yeah, to Gross. Yeah, early in the game. Nonetheless, he has his team with a 16-point lead here in the 4th quarter. Yeah, Hewlett on the carry on the right side, 5 yards.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think we've seen the run game be very successful here, especially in the second half. And, well, hey, if you can't stop it, why go away from it?
Yeah, Underwood finally made the tackle. The Hornets working quickly. The Tigers crowd the line as Hoy directs traffic. Has the snap. They'll keep it on the ground. Hewlett through another good hole, has the 1st down. He's to midfield before he's tripped up at the 47-yard line. More good yardage as Ladero Mosley tripped up Hewlett and probably saved about 20 more yards on that run. Hoy takes some extra time, plenty of time on the play clock, 20 seconds. Trips left for the Hornets. Snap to Hoy. Quick pitch. Hewlett in trouble, makes a little move in the backfield and at least avoids the major loss on the play. That would have been a loss of about 5 yards. Instead, he picks up about 2 yards.
You know, who am I to question the South Coach of the Year for Fullerton? But I got to tell you, that's a very risky play call with a pitch going back. That could easily get blown up and 6 the other way.
Yeah, you saw there that Hewlett was in a lot of trouble when he takes that snap. He had a Tiger right in his face. 2nd down and 9. Hoy looking left. Rainbows the near side. Gross incomplete as he overthrows Jerome Gross. Lewis again with good coverage, and it's a 3rd down and 9 coming up for Fullerton. They have it at the 46 of Riverside. Do the Hornets. And we said in the third quarter, Michael, it's going to be a familiar refrain, but the Tigers need another big play, it looks like. So far, the Hornets have had an answer every time the Tigers have been able to get something together. Blitz coming. Hoy throws off the back foot. Shoestring catch nearly made by Grossman. They're calling it incomplete. The call comes from the near side. Grossman thought he had it. So that'll bring on McGee. The punting unit for Fullerton. Good stand by the Tigers, who get it back. Malik Yoakum waiting inside his 15-yard line. Here's the snap, the kick away, high kick. Yoakum's going to let it bounce inside the 10, and it kicks into the end zone. Fullerton in pretty good shape there. That was a good kick by McGee, but it took one of those funny kicks, just shot into the end zone, and a break for the Tigers, who were nearly working from the shadow of their own goalpost. Instead, they'll have it at the 20 with 11:54 remaining in the ball game. And but for Jacoby Herring in this one, the Tigers have had very little going offensively here today. Herring with a couple of long touchdown catches. And other than that, the Tigers have been silenced for the most part offensively. Movement on the right side. This is going to be a false start on the Tigers. Look like the right tackle, Malik Godig, might have left a little early. So it's 1st and 15 now from the Tiger 15. Anderson looking to the far side for the play. Here's the snap. Looking right. Herring hit as he makes the catch, and it's incomplete. Ross with the excellent timing, getting there right at the same time as the football and breaking that one up. So 2nd down and 15 coming up. El Toro Allen in the backfield for the Tigers, but what a difference a week makes. A lot of struggles on the ground in this one. Anderson slips away from one tackle, but he's brought down by Stepney. The football comes out. There's a scramble for the ball. Let's see what the call is. No signal yet. And it looks like the Tigers were able to maintain possession. So Anderson, feeling the pressure, manages to at least get back to the line before Stepney lowers the boom. And it's a 3rd down and 15 coming up. You think back to the previous drive, and the Tigers were able to convert a 3rd and long, finding Darius Hunter, but they're up against it again. Here working from their own 15. Snap to Anderson, play action, looking left. The throw too high, nearly picked off. Taj Jones had that one hit him right between the numbers. Anderson wanted Eric Brown, but he sailed that throw, and the Tigers catch a break that Taj Jones isn't sauntering into the end zone right about now. 4th and 15, and we'll see the punting unit. Well, Anderson's been up and down today. I mean, a couple of terrific throws hooking up with Jacoby Herring, but misfired a couple times as well, as the Hornets have done a great job really harassing him, Jeff, making him get rid of the football sooner than he wants to. Sorry, Michael.
This seems like a completely different team that came out after the rain delay, and man, Fullerton looks really, really good.
Yeah, Acta with a short kick here, trying to direct it on the far side, and the Hornets with a golden opportunity will have the ball at the Riverside 29. Yeah, Michael, is that a little look back at Game 7 of the World Series? Because I appreciate it. They were, they took advantage of the rain delay. I think they came back, just like my beloved Cubs.
What,
so,
no Cubs hat this week to shield you from the rain?
I am saddened to report the very, very sad news that I have lost my Cubs hat. But
no way.
It's merely an opportunity to replace it.
I'm sure it was stolen.
With something newer, it's true. It's a high-demand item now, no question. So the Hornets take over at the Tiger 29, leading by 16. Hoy on the keeper, straight up the middle, picks his way forward, a gain of about 9. That was nice misdirection as he fakes to Hewlett. We haven't seen Hoy, the leading rusher for the Hornets, do a whole lot with his legs today. But that was a nice job of misdirection, creating a little seam, and an 8-yard run.
It looked like a direct snap.
Brings up a 2nd and 2.
Oh, direct snap. It looked like a wildcat type play.
Hewlett slips out of one tackle, but manages just to get back to the line.
Jeff, Hewlett just seems to really like to bring on contact. He likes to really lower that shoulder a couple times. On one of the touchdown runs earlier today, he drops the boom.
Yep. Yeah. It was Mackenzie Lewis that had the first shot at Hewlett, and he was able to run through the high tackle there, but good gang tackling. They'll say he lost a yard, so 3rd and 3 for the Hornets. What a massive 3rd down for the Tiger defense at this point. Again, trailing by 16. Any score here makes it 3 scores. Hoy against the blitz. On the slant, incomplete. Looking for McNeil. And McNeil had a shot at it, but couldn't haul it in. And it's 4th down and 3. And will this be Aguilar for what would be a 40-yard attempt? That would represent his season long. But they're going to try it. Call it 39. Still would be a season long for Aguilar. The snap, the placement down, the kick is up. Aguilar's kick is long enough and good. Jonathan Aguilar puts it through a season long, and the Hornets that much closer, 39-20. Fullerton on top of Riverside. You're watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you today by Joe Cap Realty. Under 10 minutes to go, 9:48, and the Tigers in dire straits. They trail at 39-20, and they're going to need to start making things happen quickly here if they want their season to continue in the playoffs for the 4th consecutive year. This is the 3rd time in 4 years that the Tigers have made it as far as the SCFA Championship, but so far they have not been able to get over the top and make it to the state championship game. And looking to not continue that streak here today, but they're in a spot, trailing by 19.
Jeff, you had an opportunity last week to cover this Fullerton team in a win over Ventura. And Ventura made a big-time late rally in that one. Was it Fullerton's game plan and scheme that allowed the Pirates to get back into it, or were they just outplayed down the stretch?
Yeah, I think there's to me, I had the sense, it's hard to say, but I think they had a sense that Fullerton maybe let up a little bit when they went up, as this play going nowhere on the far side. Screen to Allen's going to be a loss on the play. And I think also the Pirates relaxed a little, maybe made a couple of adjustments, started. You know, Mike, because we've covered the Pirates all season, they really do a terrific job of adjusting to what the defense is doing and taking what the defense gives them. And I think that Luton has really excelled at that all year. And I think that was part of it as well, is that the Hornets started taking away the big play, and the Pirates started kind of working their way down the field systematically, short passes, keeping the chains moving. And they were able to turn that into a rally, and they just ran out of time. Anderson going up top, and it's incomplete. Eric Brown, the intended receiver. Quickly now it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 13. You've seen the Tigers try to dial up a few big plays here in the second half, but unless it's been in the direction of Jacoby Herring, Michael, it hasn't really been going the Tigers' way.
It's a good call.
Receivers left and right for this 3rd and 13 play. 3-man rush. Anderson with time. Guns to far side. Picked off. It's going to be a pick 6. I believe it's Taj Jones.
Let's watch the replay here.
And it is Taj Jones, and that's just a great job. He's just looking at Anderson and trying to bait him into that throw, I think, Michael, and he gets the throw he wants, and it was a no-doubter. And that may go a long way towards salting this one away.
Yeah, he goes from the pick 6 to running on the track.
Yeah, it looked like he was, what was he running, about the 3rd leg of the 4x100 there? I think in that area of the track.
I don't know. I thought I heard the track and field music starting to play.
And I'll tell you, I think Taj Jones could run that if need be.
Well, if that play was any indication, I think you're right.
Yeah, Anderson maybe had a shot, but Jones with the head of steam. And that's just a great individual effort. 2nd consecutive week in which Taj Jones has had an interception in the ball game, and that one he turns into 6 points. And with 9:14 remaining, Fullerton leads it now 45-20. They're lining up to go for 2. And for Riverside, this is a demoralizing way to potentially end this season, and a refrain that's getting unfortunately familiar for the Tigers. We talked about that this is 4 consecutive years in the playoffs, and just seeming to have some trouble getting over that final hurdle. And specifically their nemesis plays their football right here at Nathan Chappelle Stadium. The Fullerton College Hornets have really had their way against the Tigers in recent years.
All-American River already punching their ticket to the state championship game 2 weeks from today with a win over Butte earlier today, 15-9. That was at Butte. And now Fullerton, barring a miracle, will punch their ticket to the final. And happy to report that we will have that for you here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Hornets going for 2. Hoy will empty the backfield. Looking left, throws into the end zone, broken up. Crenshaw had the coverage. Gets a hand in there as Hoy was trying to get it to Jerome Gross. Nonetheless, it's 45-20 with 9:14 remaining. And this was a 15-13 game heading into the second half. And you just have to give the Hornets an awful lot of credit here as they have dominated this second half.
30-7.
Yeah,
wow.
At one point, the Tigers led this one 13-8. So you take it back, and it's 37-7 since that point. It's been all Fullerton.
Jeff, you know what? Nobody likes a one-upper, but in that case, I'll take it.
That's true. I was taking the math back a little bit further. I suppose it's true. You know me. I'm a numbers guy.
You are a numbers guy.
Yeah, I can't help it. The stats get stuck in there. Here's the approach and the kick. Deep kick. Lee from the 3. Out to the 15. Tries to circle to his left. Slips out of a couple of tackles and gets forward to the 25-yard line, and that's where the Tigers will start their drive.
Fullerton, apparently with plenty of gravy in reserve after Thanksgiving, are pouring it on here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they're feasting on the Tigers again, I think.
Yeah. Usually you'd probably take the Tiger over the Hornet. But not in this one.
Not those scary giant hornets that are
those things
that are around. Those are pretty frightening.
Get a swarm of those on a Tiger. Yeah, you know what? I might take the Hornets.
Could be a tough call. Allen trying to circle to his right. He'll get back to the line, and that's it.
Well, this one definitely shaped up to be an impressive matchup, and through much of the game, especially the first half, it was back and forth. But Fullerton, in a war of attrition in the elements, really proved themselves as the top dog here in the SCFA in this title matchup in the South. And like you said, Jeffrey, I think the committee got it right.
And I think one of the really underestimated stats, the underrated stats, in this season so far that once again is showing here today is the Hornets allowing under 90 yards rushing on the season. And again, they've managed to stifle a rushing attack and really make an offense one-dimensional. And in doing that, they've really successfully slowed down the Tigers, who came in averaging over 43 points a game on the season. So this was a prolific offense. Allen straight ahead, runs into Quentin Yance. He's going nowhere. And quickly it's 4th down and 5. And the Tigers at this point is their little reason with 8:02 remaining not to go for it. I think they have to. I think everything becomes 4-down territory at this point. We'll have to see. 45-20. The football resting at the Riverside 31-yard line.
Is that Fever coming out? No?
No, it's ACTA. It's the punting unit. So Coach Tom Kraft going to give up the football here. Under 8 minutes to go in the game, but a 25-point lead for Fullerton College. And maybe a sense here that it's likely not to happen today no matter what. Good kick on the line drive punt by ACTA. This one's all the way inside the 15-yard line of Fullerton. So they'll take over at the 14. That's a 55-yard punt for ACTA. ACTA's had a couple of punts up over 50 yards today. But that will definitely fall into the category of too little, too late in all likelihood here, midway through the 4th in a 45-20 game. And we'll see the Hornets get to finish this one out.
Yeah.
Hoy joined in the backfield. By Butler. Butler gets the call straight ahead. A pickup of about 3. Well, for most of the first half, we looked like we were well on our way to an SCFA championship classic. But instead, it's just been a classic performance by Fullerton here in the second half. Call it a 2-yard gain for Butler. And now the Hornets turn their attention to the CCCAA championship. 2013, they were there, but lost to Butte College, an undefeated Butte College team that year. Butler slipping out of tackles. Tripped up near the 20, out to the 22, so he's about a yard or two shy of the first down marker. And now the Hornets will try to complete the odyssey and bring home a state championship here in 2016. 3rd down and short for the Hornets. Play clock at 14 as Hoy lines them up. Has the snap. Butler again over his right guard, and he stood up short of the line. Second effort by Butler, got close, but he's about a yard shy. And that will bring up 4th down, and the Hornets will be content to run a little clock and then give it back.
Jeff, I did want to take this opportunity to really thank everybody watching today and sticking with us here. It's been a rough go of it with the weather. We had a rain delay. We had a lightning scare. They cleared out the entire stadium. One of the reasons why we went off the air momentarily during halftime. And, obviously great to bring back coverage here for you live from Yorba Linda High School, Nathan Chappelle Stadium.
Yeah, I think it's always there's always something, I think, with us. This is one of the first times, though, Michael, I can recall in our long and storied career at SoCal College Sports that it was weather related. We usually, something will happen, but it's usually not that. We don't get that one. We don't get that one too often. Not since the Karate Kid 2 storm at Saddleback College back in about 2010.
Yeah,
I think. I think in our baseball coverage, in our infancy.
Yeah, today the Storm decidedly more Arctic, something out of Game of Thrones, Battle of the North.
Yeah.
It's a battle of the Central and the South, and the South is going to win out here and represent the SCFA in the state title game.
Yes,
Fullerton and the Hornets.
At least in the SCFA, they'll wear the throne. They will sit on the throne here in 2016.
And have zero problem with it, I'm sure.
Who does?
No rematch, as we reported earlier, American River. Through to the final with a win over Butte today. We were looking at a potential rematch of the state championship a few years ago between Butte and Fullerton, but that will not be the case. It'll be Fullerton and ARC.
It was another topsy-turvy year in the north as well with ARC emerging, but really no dominant teams there, and it was a crowded leaderboard at the top in the north as well. So congratulations to American River as they emerge, and they will make the trip down to the south and the trip here to Yorba Linda for the state championship. Tremel Davis, meanwhile, on the reception, moves the chains, and it's a rare first down here in the second half for the Tigers. 4:29, and counting, remaining in the ball game as the Tigers running it out here. Straight drop, Anderson, flushed from the pocket, and now he has to go down, eat the football, and a flag comes in late, and I suspect this might be a face mask. Anytime you see any contact up near that face mask, the officials are very quick with the call. And Anderson took a shot there up around his head, and the flags came in from all directions, and they'll mark this one off against Fullerton, so the sack is largely erased, and instead the Tigers will have a first down at the Fullerton 33 as we wind the clock, 4:11 and counting remaining.
Why don't we take this opportunity here to really thank everybody that allowed us to bring you coverage here today on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Joe Cap, Realty.
Anderson smothered in the backfield. Another sack for the Hornets. Nowhere to go. Robert Sanko gets the sack for the Hornets, who came in 38 sacks as a team coming into today. So they know how to get after the quarterback.
And, of course, Jim Woldridge, who allowed us to come out here and bring you live coverage of today's event here for Riverside on behalf of the Tigers.
I want to thank the team here at Fullerton College as well, Phil Thurman, Athletic Director Scott Giles, for also making room, welcoming us here in our coverage.
Phil Thurman, what a stud, huh?
He does his job well. There is no question. 3rd and 17 after the misfire from Anderson. And the Tigers have it at the Hornet 40, I should say. Play action, El Toro Allen off the right side. Gets to the 35 before he's met and dropped. The 5-yard gain will make it 4th down and 11. And curiously, here comes, are they going to punt? Well, I think at this point, Coach Tom Kraft is.
I think the white flag has been raised.
Yeah, I would think, though. I mean, in this situation, from the 34-yard line, I'm not exactly sure what the downside of going for it would be.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the decision made with under 3 minutes to go here. Now, obviously, the issue has been decided, but nonetheless, a curious decision nonetheless. Acta with the pooch kick inside the 5. Well, Seth Acta, haven't seen a whole lot of him running the football, but he's been terrific with his legs in a different way, handling the punting, and he pins the Hornets here inside the 5. He's done the job, but it's not going to be enough as the Hornets are cruising toward a date in the 3C2A championship on December 10th. They lead this one 45-20. And we will have one more look at this Fullerton College Hornet squad here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, because we will have the championship game for you. Hewlett comes out in the backfield. And a change at quarterback, as it's Anthony Wood lining up. They're going to come back in an I formation. So they go with 2 running backs and give it to Hewlett in the deep I, going nowhere. They kind of hid Hoy under center there, Michael. The Hornets have gone into the slowdown. As we can tell you, also it's Isaiah Jackson who's come in. So Hoy's day is over as Jackson works under center with Wood and Hewlett in the backfield. Play clock down to 8. The Fullerton crowd starts the celebration, and Jackson is swallowed up for a safety. So one final highlight for the Tigers. The Tigers make the play at the 2-yard line. And a terrific bull rush. They get Jackson in the end zone. That makes it 45-22, and the Tigers will get it back one more time before it's all said and done here from Yorba Linda. I want to say it was Mackenzie Lewis one more time who brought down Jackson. What a terrific rush.
I want to shout out to Matt Henson doing the graphics today for us.
Even remotely. Matt always makes his presence felt.
He really does.
He is down in San Diego celebrating Thanksgiving with family this weekend, but we'll have Matt back. He can't stay away from us for too long, Michael.
Yeah, we'll have him back next week for sure. Won't have him for the for the state title game though.
Well, the guy's got to have a life.
It's true. We don't.
Apparently not. Lee angling to his left with running room. Lee's at midfield. Into Fullerton territory and finally brought down inside the 35-yard line. So a long return for Lee. Gives the Tigers a short field. But it's all cosmetics here on the scoreboard at this point. 45-22. As Lee took it all the way to the Fullerton 30. So Anderson will come in to finish it off. Tigers still have the starters for the most part out on the field with the issue already decided. Anderson looking left, guns a pass complete near the first down marker. Eric Brown on the reception.
Brought down by Gordon.
A gain of about 9. And a second down and short coming up, down to 1:10 and counting remaining in the game. Anderson on a designed roll. Fires into the end zone and completes it for the touchdown. Malik Yoakum with the touchdown catch. Late flags coming in after the play, back near the 30-yard line, but it won't change the result as Yoakum with the touchdown catch makes it 45-28. So they'll line up and go for one with 1:01 remaining. As Anderson flashes the strong arm, finding Yoakum on a 22-yard touchdown pass. Timeout taken on the field. Will step aside with 1:01 remaining. And Fullerton leading by 17. You're watching the SCFA Championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Hilfer on for the extra point for Riverside. Tigers get the safety and then convert on a short field after a good return by Lee. Set them up in Hornet territory. Anderson finds Yoakum for a 22-yard touchdown. And the point after makes it 45-29. Well, if you're hoping for a Heidi-sized miracle, I suppose the Tigers are within 2 scores at this point.
Well, how much time?
Yeah, with 1:01 remaining. We'll see if Tom Kraft wants to try the onside kick to try and get the ball back, or if he simply elects to kick this one away and let the Hornets finish it out. And the Hornets, talked about at the top, it was a touchdown pass with 38 seconds remaining at Saddleback. And the Hornets leading by 4. That gave the Hornets their only loss of the season. Just that close to an undefeated season. And they have been most impressive, winning the vast majority of their games going away. In fact, I'm not recalling a really close call on the Hornets schedule this season. The Pirates fought back gamely just to even have an onside kick with a minute left to maybe have a chance. That's about as close as anyone has gotten to the Hornets this season, with the exception of Saddleback, who posted the win. So it's been a dominating performance, and this is a chapter that you have to consider perhaps most impressive of all, Michael, the way that they've been able to handle a Tiger team that themselves had been so very dominant this season.
Now, is there a penalty in this? Is there really?
Yeah, they're marking off a penalty, and it came after, it was a dead ball foul.
Okay, so personal foul.
After the touchdown on the previous play. So they'll mark this one, and instead the kick will come from the 20 with the hands unit on for the Hornets.
Everyone be sure to stick around a little bit after the broadcast. We'll have a quick recap, take it out, talk about next week's coverage of 3C2A events, and then the state championship game in 2 weeks.
Deep kick, sent back, and this one downed at the 18-yard line. And now the Hornets need only kneel this one down a couple of times. I find it hard to imagine that the Tigers will be using any timeout, so I think a couple of kneels are going to do it here, Michael.
I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, thought here on a player of the game? This is a tough call here today. A couple of guys.
You know who my player of the game is? The offensive line.
Yeah, I think it's a great call in the second half. Really made the difference. DeAndre McNeil had an outstanding game. Of course, Jordan Hoy, one of those guys you could give it to every week, I suppose. Only had 5 Player of the Week awards this season in the regular season. But, yeah, some opportunities to go around, but I don't think anybody had a greater impact than that offensive line in the second half and the way they were able to wear down this Tiger defense. And a nice moment here as the players exchanging some hugs and high fives down the stretch. And these are 2 programs that know each other extremely well. A lot of players that know each other very well on these teams. And good to see sportsmanship finishing this one, because it can be very emotional. And sometimes you see guys that are not ready to let go, not ready for it to end. And you can understand that, but it's good to see that the guys have managed to hold it together, and it's going to finish with a nice moment like that.
Well, that offensive front, anchored by Nathan Trent, Emil Graves, 2 first-team all-conference selections, will lead the way going into the championship game versus ARC American River College. In a couple of weeks, we will have coverage of that for you here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It'll be the Hornets and the Beavers. Step away for a moment, take a short break, recap of the action here today, and set the table for you going forward here. Stay tuned. SoCalCollegeSports.com's continuing coverage of SCFA football.
45-29, the final score. Fullerton on top of Riverside here in the SCFA Championship on SoCalCollegeSports.com, and the Hornets punched their ticket onto the championship game. First time since 2013, but they're back. And the Hornets, I can almost guarantee over there in that huddle, they're talking about one more game to win.
One more game to win at home. They don't have to travel up north this time around. And, man, what an impressive performance against – I got to tell you, I thought Riverside was going to the 3C2A final.
Yeah.
I mean, after the performances in consecutive weeks, first off, let's recap the last 2 weeks for Riverside coming into this game.
Yeah.
A very impressive win against a surging Mount Sac team in the regular season finale that punched their ticket into the postseason in the SCFA regionals. And then last week against Saddleback, the defending SCFA champ, who, well, they were champions of the South, but not the top seed. The top seed went to Fullerton, even though they were the wild card team. From what I'm told, that's a rule that will be changed as one of the bylaws going forward next year. But hey, the committee got it right.
Yeah.
Fullerton hosts, they run the table, and they're going to the state title game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing to me about this performance from Fullerton was the way they excelled in all phases.
Yeah.
Ran the football, but a big play on special teams, and a terrific job defensively against an offense that had been playing very well. And you know, that's what you need. And a lot of sort of coverage, a lot of talk will be about how good this team is offensively. Jordan Hoy, the 50 points a game. But I think they're supremely underrated as a defensive unit as well. And that's been a big part of their success. So let's turn our attention now to us and talk about SoCalCollegeSports.com, because we have a busy couple of weeks coming up as well.
We do. Well, we have next week, we have double duty. We have soccer on Friday, men's and women's coverage for you here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's the 3C2A 2016 finals, and that'll be up at Ventura College. That's on Friday. On Saturday, we have women's volleyball. That's at L.A. Pierce. And then simultaneous coverage on Sunday, L.A. Pierce, day 2 of women's volleyball festivities.
Yep,
and
then the men's and women's.
The men's and women's final from Ventura College. So I think that'll do it for our coverage here tonight. Again, special thanks to Athletic Director Jim Wooldridge bringing us out. Joe Cap. How about Will Cowan? Let's give a shout out to Will.
Well, you know, I'm always a supporter.
College.
I feel like no matter what we're doing, let's just hope for dry weather. I think that's what we want. Next 2 weeks. That's big.
Dry weather.
That's
and
big. No more rain.
How about a heat lamp?
Yeah, that would also go well. That's true. We'll be back here in a couple weeks. So
indeed. Well, that'll wrap it up for our coverage. For Matt Henson, Jorge Cepeda, Jeff Stornoff, I'm Mike Cepeda, signing off here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the football state championship. We'll see you next week for soccer and women's volleyball. Thank you for watching, everybody.
And 2 touchdowns. Congratulations.